This is A's Cast Live, your comprehensive look at the Athletics.
Swung on, drive to left field. Did he do it? He did! 4 home runs for Nick Kurtz! He is 6 for 6!
Swing and a drive, deep to left. The A's take the lead in grand fashion.
And 29 other MLB clubs.
Stretch of the pitch to Cal. Swing and a drive, deep to right field. There it is, number 60, the modern-day Bambino.
Join us as we take you inside the baseball universe from humidors to walk-off dingers.
That swung at a high, deep drive to right. Smith is back. He will not even watch it. And the A's win it on a walk-off by Nick Kurtz.
We have you covered. Spend your afternoon with us, only on A's Cast Live. Here's Chris Townsend.
All right, we are back here at the 2025 Winter Meetings in Orlando, Florida at the Signia Hilton Disney World. Good news for the kids. More importantly, it's clearing up, so the day at Disneyland will be fantastic, as the weather had been brutal, but it's starting to clear up. Are we going to go over there? We got to go at least go over there and check it out, right? We're not going to go into Disneyland, but at least go check it out.
I think our best bet will probably be the last day because we have more time because our flight's not till super late.
We have to.
Yeah, I want to see it. Like I said, I've been there since I was 2.
All right, news since we have left you. We haven't even been gone 2 hours. Now, we've heard that the Nats, Mackenzie Gore, I mean, if you're looking for a starter, you're looking for a guy that, let me see what his exact numbers were last year. But Mackenzie Gore is a guy that you'd love to have. I mean, he'd either be your 1 or your 2. And so he gave you 30 starts on a bad team with a 4.17 ERA. Take him in a second. How old is he? He's not even 30 yet.
I think he's 26 or 27.
So he's 20. So this will be year 27 for him, right? And so we knew that's going. But all of a sudden, now throw in CJ Abrams is being shopped by the Nationals. I mean, you think about the guys that were the cornerstones of the trade for Juan Soto from the Nats to San Diego. Now the Nats are putting all these guys up for sale. You want a shortstop who's supremely athletic? You might venture off to a casino late at night, but we can deal with that. CJ Abrams is now up there. Then there's now also reports that the polar bear, Pete Alonso, I did not realize he lives in Tampa, but he is driving up here to meet with the Boston Red Sox and the Baltimore Orioles. Are we going to book him?
We'll leave that up to Ray. He's the Mets guy.
Huh? Can we get the polar bear on? Where's he going to sign? Isn't it amazing that a guy that's had the career that he has had, and everybody wants to pick holes at it, he's had a damn good career. He's got the most home runs in Mets history, and the guy can't find a home. The guy can't find love. Isn't that unbelievable? He plays basically every single game. Is he the best first baseman? But, I mean, the guy's been a force in the middle of the lineup in Major League Baseball for years. And he's got to drive up here to talk to people.
It's like that. Remember that secret meeting that Aaron Judge had when we were in San Diego?
Yeah, so we were in San Diego. We didn't even know it, but Aaron Judge flew in and then bolted immediately for Monday Night Football. No, he came from Monday Night Football. He was Monday Night Football. He was in Tampa. And the Buccaneers were playing. I don't remember who they played. Then he flew into San Diego. Privately, no one knew. Met with the Padres because the Giants were offering him the big contract. The Yankees already, and then all of a sudden got back on a plane and went to Hawaii. But Pete Alonso has to drive up from Tampa. But that's what's happening right now. Pete Alonso's going to show up. He's going to meet with the Red Sox. He's going to meet with the Orioles. And the drama is there. Do we have our pitching coach, the pitching doctor, Dr. Emerson? How are you, my friend?
I'm doing great. How you guys doing?
We're doing well here in Orlando, Florida, as the winter meeting started yesterday. We've had some moves today. Michael Soroka signed a 1-year, $7.5 million deal with the Arizona Diamondbacks. There's a lot of rumors flying around right now, potential trades. trades seem to be the hot thing. Well, we've had 21 trades so far, and maybe we are going to see more. How's your off season going?
It's going good. Can't complain. I guess I got some of the bad weather that you guys are getting down in Orlando's come up here through North Carolina. But other than that, the off season's been good.
It's interesting when you think about the offseason and the pitching staff and all the different guys that you have and keeping track of everybody, because everybody, I'm sure when you met with them in the offseason and they went out, they all had their different programs, what you wanted them to do. So take us through your offseason and the guys that you have on the big club, the guys that you have on the 40-man roster, how you keep track of all these guys. How do you make sure they're doing what you want them to do? Some guys are going to throw labs, and you want to know how that's going. Take us through the offseason of a pitching coach in Major League Baseball.
Yeah, there's a lot of text messages going on. There's a lot of phone calls going on. I commend our athletic trainers and Josh Cuffey, our director of strength and conditioning. They do a lot of it as well. They're calling players, every 2 and 3 weeks. Dan Hubbs and I are doing the same with the pitchers. We sent them all home, with some things to work on, some things that we think can take their game to another level, or some things that they just need to be able to be sustainable on. And our data team helps out with that, led by Miles. And we're just trying to put ourselves in a good position to come into spring training, have some talks with the athletic trainers about how we're going to build our guys in spring training, who might need to, kind of slow it down a little bit, and who we need to accelerate a little bit, depending on, who we're looking at. And then once we get into January, we'll normally talk with the front office about, okay, who are our priority guys coming in. Unfortunately, in the dead period with the minor league guys, some of the signs recently came. We're unable to talk to them until the dead period is over. But with our 40-man roster guys, it's, following. Some guys are playing winter ball. Nunez just pitched the other day. And, it's a lot of fun, being able to get video now. Some of them throw it, like you said, at throwing labs and are able to send you data as well. And when we get that, generally our throwing program started December 1st. And the first week of January, we start bullpens, and we throw bullpens twice a week. And the guys that can send data. It's awesome to be able to forward that on to our analytic department to make sure we're staying in the comfort zone.
So you put them on a program so that when they get to spring training, they're able to do what?
Yeah, well, Dan Hubbs and I will generally this year we'll fly in about February 5th, and February 6th is the first day of the throwing program that guys can face hitters. Now, some guys will want to face some hitters a little bit earlier. That's a different conversation. But they'll get into, kind of come into camp early. If they get there early, the complex will open for them to throw to hitters on the 6th. And then the following week, we'll put them into groups and get them going. Guys like to throw nowadays, and it's healthy for the arm to throw, to play catch. It may not be healthy for the arm to keep pitching year round, but it is healthy to move the arm and play catch. So, we just want to make sure when the guys get to the mound in spring training and face hitters, we're doing it safely. As that's the toughest part of this year for guys, is that usage, starts to kick up in spring training. You get relievers in 7 to 10 games, and your starters hopefully make 6 starts. So you just want to make sure that we're getting them facing hitters safely.
Yeah, one thing that we talk about so much on this show, we talk about it with you about every 2 weeks, is being able to get innings. You need to be able to get innings. And if you start thinking about like last year when the ball club went through that tough stretch in May where you lost 20 of 21, so much was put on the bullpen still at that time, and things just didn't go well. And it's just how many innings can you get out of your starting pitchers? So how much do you guys focus on that when you think, okay, yeah, at the beginning of the year, we don't want to push guys, but we want to make it more, hey, going 6 innings in your first few starts is shouldn't be something like is pushing these guys. That should be something they should be able to do.
Yeah, we're hoping, as things roll on in spring training, when you make your 6 starts, your first outing, should be 2 and 35, 2 innings, 35 pitches, which, the starters throwing batting practice, I split it up into ups. So they do 2 ups at 15 the first inning and 15 the second inning. Now, the guys that are pitching the first game of spring training really can't do that because if you calendar it out, you only have 11 days for the first game. So they'll have to throw BP and then only have 3 days off going into that first game start. So we'll see if they throw 1 or 2 innings, and then you're going 3, 4, 5, and 6, and you're building guys 15 to 20 pitches per outing. So by the time spring training ends, you're hoping they get to that 100, 105 pitch mark. And then that's where you're going to start their pitch count at. The first game of the season is 100 to 105. And then, I always like building 15 pitches more. And we always talk about, right, well, how come we pulled the guy after 5? He only threw 80 pitches. And a lot of times it's not about the pitches. It's about, the third or fourth time through. So, you earn your pitches per se. So, I always say, why can't they throw 135 pitches? That's, 15 pitches an inning times 9, but you have to get there. The guy, just say opening day starter goes out and throws 83 pitches and we take him out of the game for matchup reasons and say it was in the 7th inning, his next game's pitch count is still going to be 105. So, they got to get to that pitch count before we boost it to the next level.
Well, one thing I know we talked a lot about at the end of the season, it worked. I loved it. You loved it. Everybody loved it. And we've talked a little bit earlier today on this with Martin Gallegos because, we start doing what are the needs of the Athletics and the other 29 teams here at the winter meetings. And one thing people have been talking about is because everybody believes you got to have a closer. Like we somehow have established in this game that everybody needs to have a closer. The reality is not all teams have a closer. There's not going to be 30 closers. It's not how it works. You develop something that actually we touched upon years ago, like a positionless pitching staff, where you say, all right, gentlemen, you show up, you be ready to go. And when we put you in, we expect you to be good, be efficient, and also be able to go more than 3 outs. When we're talking about the bullpen, we're leaving starters out of this. And you really did this, the last 2 months of the season, your bullpen was the best in all of baseball when we just look at the numbers. And all of your guys thrived in this scenario where today, if you're pitching today, be ready to rock and you're going to go more than 3 outs. Talk about how you developed that at the end of the year and why do you think it was so successful?
Yeah, one thing looking back at the season 2 on our pitching staff is, we really stunk in May, right? We had that horrible May, but, we started out pretty good. And then from June 1st, we really pitched pretty good. And I think that the date of June 1st, if you look at those numbers from June 1st, it was really good. And then after the All-Star break, it was even better. And then, Kotz and Darren Bush and myself were talking about what can we do to keep guys healthy, to get them fresh. I think a lot of it is getting guys to the mound fresh. And if you're warming up 5-6 days a week, it's hard to stay fresh. And we learned that in May. We went to some rookies early in May and expected their workload, them to be able to handle it. And maybe they weren't ready for that at the big league level. So, we came up with this strategy is like, hey, when you're the first guy in, you need to be able to go multiple innings. So, that's still the plan going into the season is building guys up to be able to go, 40 to 45 pitches, relievers. And you're hoping that that's for sure 2 innings, maybe more. You come in, you pick up a guy in the 6th and you finish the 6th and go 7 and 8. Matchups, we get a great matchup sheet from analysts that put it together that tell us, okay, these are the best matchups for our pitchers data-wise. And then we got to understand, okay, well, this guy pitched last night. This guy's had 2 days off. They're relatively the same. We just for a sake of argument, we go with Ferguson tonight, and Fergie's got to be able to give us, 2 innings. And that keeps everybody fresh. It keeps everybody engaged. I thought Kotz did a great job of doing that. After the All-Star break, for sure. We were putting guys in the best chances of success. And as you talk about the closer role, if you have a really good closer, they're always good, right? And but are there 30 of them out there? Are there 40 guys out there that are like that? And if you look at the playoffs, some of these quote-unquote closers were in the game in the 7th inning. So they weren't closing in the playoffs. So if it's that important to win a playoff game like that, why isn't it that important to win a regular season game like that? Because you got to be successful in the regular season, right, to get to the playoffs. Yeah. So I think that the strategy is going to stay the same.
Well, I mean, just looking right now, I got it right here. You got guys who you talk about closers there really aren't that many real closers anymore. I mean, Devin Williams really struggled in New York last year, and the best he could get was with the Mets, 3 years, $51 million. Ryan Helsley was traded, then now signed with Baltimore, 2 years, $28 million. Edwin Diaz is still out there, but if you go down the list of like true traditional closers, I don't know how many are out there. I brought up Pete Fairbanks. I'd like to see him come to the A's because I think he could fit in that mold of saying you can pitch anytime but that's something I know you're not going to discuss actual players, but I just hope we keep this mentality because it was so successful. Have you guys thought about that, talked about that with the general manager, with the skipper going into this year about how you did things late in the season, especially the last 2 months of the year? Could you replicate that and keep that going into next season with your bullpen?
Yeah, most definitely. I mean, that is, the plan. You said it best that we had one of the best bullpens in the second half of the season. So for me, let's build off of that. Let's if we get, obviously Sean Newcomb is a free agent. Could lose him and not have him in uniform. And he was a very good part of that bullpen. So if we have to replace a guy like Newcomb, we just replace him with somebody, right? So I think that the goal is to do the same thing that we did after All-Star break leading into the season. Now, it could all change just because of personnel. You all of a sudden you get a guy that's a bona fide closer. Now, and I would ask you about Devin Williams. How many years did he really close? Hader was the closer in Milwaukee, and he was kind of the setup man.
Really,
right?
1 year,
if I'm not mistaken. So it wasn't like Williams was, a 3-year closer. Maybe he doesn't like closing. I don't know. But, I think it's all about, how the game is played at that moment in time. Okay, the 7th inning is, the situation calls for Hogan Harris, a left-hander, to come in and get some guys out. Or the situation might call for Hogan Harris in the 9th inning to get guys out. I think that, what we did the last 2 months, it was proven successful. And until you get an overhaul of personnel, then you decide to make a change. But if you don't have an overhaul of personnel, then I think obviously you go do what you did the second half of last year.
Hogan Harris is a great example of just a guy that changed. Because as a starter, we joked with him last year in the dugout at spring training because he was a starter at the time, that he could break a pane of glass with his fastball. And then all of a sudden, up and down from AAA, and he remakes himself, and he dives into being a reliever. Next thing you know, he improves 4 or 5 miles an hour on his fastball. At some point, he was hitting 95, 96. So we can talk about the data about changing to a reliever and once again utilizing these guys for just more than 3 outs. But I think more importantly, it's the mental side of it. The mental side of all these guys buying in, whether you were a starter, you weren't a starter, whether you're a one-inning guy, there had to be the mental buy-in, and they all bought in and they all liked it. Because like Hogan Harris by the end of the year was like, he went from being a starter who he thought he was a starter to, by the end of the year, loving his role as a reliever. There has to be the mental side, the switch, and the buy-in, if you can talk to that.
Yeah, I know, Hogan each and every day would always tell me, hey, I'm ready to pitch today and I can give you 5 innings. I mean, he just enjoys getting out there and pitching. You take a guy, I always think about like Liam Hendricks. Liam Hendricks wasn't Liam Hendricks until he became the closer, until he felt like maybe he was valued from us in a way that, this inning is important. And, I tease Hogan Harris. I'm like, man, you come in and make a save, you get a save situation and you're up to 97 miles an hour, or you come in the 4th inning and you're throwing 2s and 3s, right? So, my thought is that you got to have that mentality in the big leagues, no matter what inning you're pitching. Every inning is a stressful inning for a competitive big league pitcher because, one, you don't want to embarrass yourself. You want to get out there and get after it. And, when that mentality comes that every single inning is important, even the guy pitching in a game where you're down 4 or 5 innings, the guy comes into a game, you're down 4 or 5, he needs to go 3 innings to save that bullpen. If he doesn't go 3 innings, he goes, 2 innings and throws 60 pitches, he may not be on the team tomorrow. We may need to get a new guy in town. So every role on a big league team needs to be, filled with expectation that, hey, if my role is to come in as a mop-up guy, I need to finish out this inning. And that's a mentality, like you said. And it's trying to milk these guys to, 1, be sustainable, and 2, go out there and pitch with what they got each and every night.
Jonny Gomes has just arrived. He's going to be joining us here in just a little bit. Jonny Gomes, we absolutely love Jonny, one of the great A's, one of the great leaders of all time. Let's talk Luis Severino. Obviously, there were the issues with the ballpark in Sacramento. Have you guys addressed this offseason, and maybe something you'll do a little bit later? Maybe you have. How do we get the best? How do we get him comfortable, and how do we get the best of Luis Severino in year 2?
Well, I think, at the end of the year, you saw what Sevy can really do. And I think, sometimes when you're struggling early in the season, you might make some comments that you regret. Maybe he doesn't regret making those comments, but you'd have to ask him. But he had a great second half. I believe it was 6-1 with a 2.10 ERA or 3.10 ERA. I thought he pitched much better. I thought he was the aggressor. And I think he really stopped worrying about the ballpark and just started worrying about the things that he could do. So for me, he left in a great place. We've talked a few times this offseason. I think he's excited, and I hope he's excited. And I'm excited for him for this year. You come in, and now you know everybody. You know his routines. I know his routines. I know what he likes to do. Our training staff, our strength and conditioning department, everybody likes to know, everybody's routine and how they tick. And sometimes it's building a relationship, and sometimes relationships take a little bit longer to build. And the trust, the trust factor to understand that, hey, we are here for you. We want the best for you each and every outing, and we're here to grind for you. And I hopefully he bought into that.
Well, it was like people at the trade deadline. I was going on different shows, and people are trying to say, do you think he's going to get traded? I'm like, he's not getting traded. They signed him. They put it in the budget, and they want him here. And I know that's been floated around this offseason. I haven't heard much since we've been here, but trying to tell people, no, the A's want him. And you know what? The A's need him. The A's need his innings. The A's need a leader in the staff. They need a guy who can take the ball 30-plus times and need to give him as close to 200 innings as possible. with a lot of these young pitchers that I'm going to ask you about in a second, you guys need Severino to be that guy that you thought you were getting when you signed him.
Yeah, he brings a lot of experience. He brings pedigree. He brings stuff. I thought his stuff was good all season, even in the early part of the season when he may have struggled. It's figuring out everything, figuring out the ballpark. The ballpark may have played small a little bit in the first half. There was some other things that got to him a little bit. And I think, he figured it out. He solved it. And we moved on from that.
When you welcome Luis Morales and you need to get him comfortable, probably going to do the same thing with Gage Jump later on. These kids are the future. They're the future. They're important now for the success. And we were talking earlier with Bob Nightingale of the USA Today, where we talked about, there's a good chance the A's could be in the postseason one of the next 2 years before the team goes to Las Vegas. But you need these young guys to be able to be successful now. They got to learn how to grow and learn to be ready to be big dogs once we hit 2028. How much are you guys talking about that with these young pitchers? Arnold, the first-round pick coming up from Florida State. These guys at some point are going to make their way here, and they got to be successful. They are the key.
Yeah, I think, to get young pitchers to be sustainable and be good at the big leagues is about their processes, understanding, that the location, movement, changes, speeds, effort level, and velocity are still never going to change. How good are you able to do that? Can you throw enough strikes? Can you change speeds? I can't go without saying if hitting's timing, right? Pitching's disruption of timing. Can you do these things? And that's what, they got to do at the minor league level to be successful big leaguers. Can you execute your fastball when you throw your fastball? As we know, the fastball usage in the big leagues has gone down over the years. And for me, it's because of lack of execution, not because it's getting hit hard. It gets hit hard because we're throwing it behind the count too much close to the middle of the plate. That's why we don't like it, but we've never liked the fastball down the middle behind in the count, right? So we got to get them to learn how to use it. Top third, bottom third, inner third, outer third. And then can they, change speeds? Can they get a ball on the ground when they need it? These are the things that, young pitchers need to understand. It's not just getting on the mound, throwing it as hard as you can, not executing it, spinning it as hard as you can, not executing it. When you get to the big leagues, you got to be able to execute your pitches. Now, we want to have good shapes. We want to be able to move good, but can we do it? So, these things are the things that get stressed to our young pitchers.
Well, you got a lot of young guys. It's going to be interesting this year. We know that the average team is using 12 to 13 guys. So when we bring up the names, like Perkins and Jump and Basso and Medina and Waldichuk, all these guys, it's just the way the world works. All these young pitchers, you're going to need them all this year.
Yeah, and I think spring training is going to be healthy competition. There's a lot of guys that we know. We know a lot of guys now. They've been in the organization for a year or two. It's not like barring moves that we make the rest of the way. You kind of got enough guys right now that you feel good about your depth of what you have. And now it's about them going out competing for a job.
All right. Good stuff. Have a great Christmas. Happy holidays. And next time we'll be talking to you, we'll be in 2026. Let's get this season going.
Yeah. Tell Jonny Gomes. I still remember Mexicali 2004, him running like a 3.95.
Hold on. I'm gonna have him come over real quick. Scott Emerson is on.
Scotty?
Yeah. Put the headset on.
Pitching guru?
The pitching that we call him the pitching doctor. Get over here. Get over here. Say hello. Say hello to.
He is.
What's up, Johnny?
Right on schedule. Just trying to get some ratings for my guy Chris here.
I need the number. I need this is the ratings getter right here.
Yeah.
Well, I was telling Townie. I remember when you were playing in Mexicali, I was in Los Mochis. It's my birthday, December 22nd in Mochis. It's freezing. You already hit a homer off the scoreboard. And then I think Derek White hit one too. And then you hit a dribbler back to the pitcher. And I don't know why, but I had my watch. And and I timed you down the line, and it was like 395
See?
down the line from the right side. And I said, I love this guy, dude. I love this guy. You just never stopped playing the game hard. And that's when I said, I'm going to follow this dude's career, because I saw your brother in the Cal League that year as well. And I'm like, all right, this is my new favorite. This dude, it's freezing out in Mexicali, Mexico, winter ball. And he hits a dribbler to the pitcher after hitting a bomb. And, lack of term, hauled ass down the line. I loved it, man.
How about that? That's back my international days.
Mexicali?
Mexicali, Mexico. We were also Caribbean World Series champs that year. One down there,
Did you get a ring for that, too?
You know what? I really wanted a ring, but the team opted to take the money of how much the ring was worth. Bums me out. It's the only one I'm missing. I got AAA, Arizona Fall League, American League Championship, 2 World Series, and I needed my Caribbean, and I got some cash instead, pesos.
One of our pitching coordinators, Bronzewell Patrick, is down there as the pitching coach. I'll tell him to tell the Mexicali front office we need a Johnny Gomes ring.
Can we get a ring made up for my man Johnny? He's got something missing. He's had such a great career, but there's one thing missing.
It's not missing. I got it, but I just need the actual.
Yeah, you got to put it with all the other rings. Yeah. Emo, by the way,
are you doing Home Run Derby X this year?
That's what I do, man. I just love traveling the country and hitting homers. 2 things I do best. A little bit of food, a couple beers along the way. But, Home Run Derby X, of course.
Yeah, all those guys are good friends of mine.
Yeah.
Jay Scott and Mike Griffin. I love those guys.
Oh, yeah, those Pro 5 guys.
Yep.
All right, Emo, hit them straight, buddy. Have a great Christmas and holidays.
All right, you too.
Thanks
for having me.
The pitching guru, Scott Emerson. You scoot over a little bit.
Let's get centered.
No, that way.
Okay. There we go. Stop yelling at me. It's early.
Ladies and gentlemen, our next guest, I simply say all the time, he is one of the great leaders in this franchise's history. He grew up a fan of the Athletics.
Yes.
He will always be an Athletic.
Yes.
What a wonderful career, World Series titles, now doing so much in the game. Jonny Gomes, how are you, my friend?
I'm right on schedule, man. To tell you the truth, being around you is a breath of fresh air. Being in front of the green and yellow.
Yeah.
Like you said, I mean, wherever you grow up, I did time in Boston. You run into the kids where it's in their roots. I was fortunate to play all over, but my love for the game really kicked off with Oakland. When I bump into people, on that 89 team, as for the 13 Red Sox, people, will thank me. When I bump into those guys on that 89 team, I thank them because that story Emo, just mentioned, that's how I learned to play baseball.
Yeah.
That was hitting homers like the Bash Bros, the starting pitching, the bullpen, the hustle, from Carney Lansford, Mike Gallego, the head first slides from Ricky. I mean, I was so fortunate to grow up watching that style of baseball. And it groomed me, from 89? I was 8 all the way to
88, 89, 90, 3 straight years in the World Series. Well, you love this year in
Eric Davis here too. Not a lot of A's fans want to see Eric Davis.
Eric the Red.
Yes.
Greatness. Barry Larkin's coming on today too. Speaking of that era,
yeah. Billy Hatcher, he didn't even get out, did he?
Paul O'Neill, Hal McRae,
yes,
Sabo at third. That was
a wire to wire.
So you would love this. Is that we're still doing the Hall of Fame, and we did it up in Sacramento this year, and it was so cool that the big 3 went in.
Yep.
And you're sitting in that room and you're like, as you talked about, that there's Stu, there's Carney, there's and I've been trying to tell people that you're just going to have to get used to, because I dealt with this with the Raiders, because the Raiders were in Oakland, then they went to LA, then they came back to Oakland. Now they're in Las Vegas. So you're going to have the A's in Philly, the A's in Kansas City, the A's in Oakland, and then you're going to have the A's in Sacramento for a couple of years, and then you'll have the A's in Vegas.
Right.
You'll always be an A. It'll just depend on where you played is how we'll have to link it. That's just the way it's going to be.
Yeah, I mean, there's a new generation, of fans. There's a new generation of baseball, but do yourself a favor and just run the history of the org. right? Run the history.
Oh, the great teams of Philadelphia
yeah,
and the Hall of Famers and the
you know,
championships. Yeah.
the Oakland, the A's and the Yankees are the only teams to go, back to back to back. We'll see if the Dodgers make a run at it. But I mean, there's so much greatness. And like I mentioned, of how the A's played baseball. I tell people all the time when I was a kid, all I really wanted to do was wear white cleats. Right? I told you that before. That just meant so much to me. The green and the yellow, such a unique color with the white cleats. Having the opportunity to wear Oakland A's pajamas all the way into an Oakland A's uniform was pretty special.
All right.
And to be able to spray champagne in the Coliseum. I mean, there's a lot of games in the Coliseum. There's, a decent amount of champagne, but, those photos are hung high in my house.
Oh, the 2012 team, man.
Yeah.
That will always, it's funny.
I need a Netflix to jump on that one or something.
It was such a magical
when you go back
ride.
and look at it, that, who made that comeback? Cleveland made that comeback this year. I was like, we did that too, right? I mean, we were in first place for 4 innings of 162 games.
Well, technically, you weren't first place until the very last out of the game.
Well, Josh Hamilton dropped the ball, I think, in the 6th or the 7th.
Yeah.
We took the lead. We didn't look back, and that got us to first place.
Started on June 2nd. The A's, 2012 on June 2nd. From June 2nd on, had the best record in baseball, hit the most home runs in baseball. And you remember, it just kept being like, you know what? You just got to keep reeling the Rangers in. Make that last 4 games mean something.
Yep.
And it all just worked.
And I mean, right around the All-Star break, we started to get a little momentum. And, I'm an outside the box thinker. I mean, we got to play today. We got to win today's inning, today, all stuff. But, I looked ahead, when I saw a 4-game set in Texas, and then I saw a 4-game set at home against Texas. Can we get 8? Well, guess what? We won't play if we don't think we can, but we're going to play. And sure enough, we went sweep there and then sweep at home. And then how it panned out, I mean, and then Detroit, I mean, we bumped into Verlander. Verlander in the Coliseum's tough, but, it took a really, really good Verlander to beat that team. That team was good. You go back and look at that roster, just a bunch of goons of all goons, right? But, man, we were good. We were real good.
Do you keep track with any of the guys from 2012?
I'd say Brandon Inge, right? So
Brandon
a lot of throwback
Inge,
names. Okay, so Reddick. I've talked to Moss. Cliff Pennington is now, what is he, the bench coach at A&M maybe?
I don't know.
Yeah, I think he's the bench coach at A&M.
Look it up.
Came across Travis Blackley.
Yeah.
Brandon McCarthy. Like, you got to dig for this roster, but when you say the names, it's just like.
At one point, back at the Coliseum, we were doing a show. We had Reddick and Coco together.
Jeez,
wow,
I've seen
that
Coco
was
a few times.
Yeah, that was kind of great. It was such a fun group, and
Cespedes.
I'll never forget. When you guys were kind of the stadium was empty. You guys came back out. I was doing the post game show up in the press box at the time. Fans were going nuts.
Yep.
Next, you had the hose. You were spraying people. And you guys left, and I'll never forget, there was just this pyramid of champagne and the blue Bud Light, the aluminum blue Bud Light cans, and there was just a pyramid of champagne and Bud Light. It was like, man, that was hard to believe, but that just happened, and that was magic.
Yeah, man. I mean, having the opportunity to celebrate in the big leagues is few and far between. But, man, never miss an opportunity to do it and go all in. And those are the memories that you're going to have forever. I remember that year, they basically, wheeled out the 72 team, right, because of the anniversary. And I sat back, and I was just like, man, winning is forever, right? Winning is the only anniversary in baseball. And it kind of, I was fortunate to go to the World Series early.
That's kind of deep, by the way.
Yeah.
Winning is unless it's a personal milestone.
Yeah.
Winning is the only anniversary celebrated.
That's it. I mean, I tell people all the time. I mean, name the names in the year for an amateur fan of Triple Crowns, of Gold Gloves, of MVPs. You go to a yard, those pennants are the only thing hanging. Those are the only thing hanging. You go to Atlanta Braves, you got all the pennants. You go to the Cardinals, you go to the Giants, you go to LA, you go to Oakland. So it's the only anniversary in baseball, man. You want to be remembered forever, win.
For you now, what is it like? Come back to the winter meetings? Because there's you're involved with a lot of different things.
Baseball's all I know, man. Baseball rep. Baseball's all I know. As soon as I hung up my cleats and put my bat down, I was like, I'm not cut out for the real world. So all kinds of aspects in baseball.
So what's going on these days?
We're all over the place. You know, we got a facility up north in Katati too, which is real cool. It's kind of a private facility that, you know, I work with kids and, you know, always trying to better kids and advise kids. So we got an advising group called Indie Pro, which is great, with some really important people like right beside me, just grabbing some kids and advising them basically on the path that I had, you know, from Santa Rosa Junior College in the 18th round to the big leagues in 03 to 12 years in the big leagues. Bumped into this guy, and all this stuff. So, you know, advising and representing guys, you know, is a big part of it. And then also doing stuff, you know, the MLB ambassadoring stuff and checking in, checking out, you know, wherever the wind blows me. But helping these kids out with Indie Pro is pretty special.
We need to get you back into our A's family. There's no question about that. I will never forget.
I'm drinking the Kool-Aid right now, by the way.
Have you seen Vegas?
I honestly,
it's gonna be incredible.
I honestly wasn't for a while, but I'm drinking the Kool-Aid, especially with the roster and the staff.
Yeah.
You don't want to play these guys. You don't. They're exciting.
Well, I have it right here. Last 6 World Series champs all were top 4 in home runs. You saw the A's offense under Darren Bush's tutelage.
Yeah.
What do we call him? The offensive coordinator?
Got to have one.
What is this?
Director of hitting.
Director of hitting. I love these offensive coordinators. What do you got? A laminated play sheet?
Help score changer. We're trying to change.
We're going to go
score.
trips wide.
Yeah. Yeah.
But the A's hit home runs, but all of a sudden this year we started making contact too.
Sure.
And then all of a sudden you started looking at this line. This Nick Kurtz kid, Jacob Wilson's legit. Nick Kurtz it's the real deal.
Yeah, I mean, you know, when just the upside of your shortstop and first base were basically just in college, right? I mean, just how fast those dudes flew through the minor leagues just shows the development of the org, you know, for one. And, you know, the scouting department, you know, they weren't one of one guys, right? They're down a little bit in the draft. But yeah, I mean, they're drafted to the big leagues and, you know, American League, you know, rookie of the years, you know, both of them.
1 and 2.
1 and 2. It's bright, man. I'm drinking the Kool-Aid. I am.
You know, when I think about players and looking at the future, because we just opened the ballpark experience. Did you see any video of that?
Yeah, I've been checking it in for sure.
Put up some of the video of that, Cody. We still have it, and it was a place that when we were there, we did a show from there, and we were going through it all. It was like, you know what? This is a place you could. No, because everything's about selling tickets and suites and everything. I'm like, this is a place, this cube where it shows you're in the ballpark.
Right.
It's crazy.
Right.
It's brand new technology. I'm like, I'd bring free agents here.
Absolutely.
I would bring guys, say, listen, this is what it's going to be like. This is Dallas Braden on the mound. I mean, it's like you're on the field.
Yeah.
Like this is what it's going to be like. This is what you're committed to. And oh yeah, 0 state taxes.
That plays.
So that's what I want to ask you as a former player, just for the standpoint of we know how big it plays it's played huge for the Florida hockey teams.
Yep.
You've had a tremendous amount of foreign-born players who've come to the United States. They come to play. They've left, they get drafted. But free agents, they're like, do I want to go play in the motherland, Canada? No, I want to play in Florida because there's no state taxes. And Florida teams have been dominant. Hasn't worked so much for baseball. But for Vegas, I think this is going to play big for players when you just say, hey, listen, you're going to have no state taxes on your contract. I mean, that immediately is huge.
And when you get to where the money is these days, right? I mean, just mention league minimum, right, of what's taken out and what you get to keep. When you start getting into these big numbers, like it is 100% appealing. I mean, it's working for Texas.
Yeah.
Right? You know, the Houston and the Rangers. I mean, they got some big name guys, you know, and it's worked for there. But yeah, that's definitely going to be on the board. They do got a couple more years. I just really hope, you know, it's guns a-blazing going into Vegas. I would hate to see him like limp into it. It being a results-driven industry. Seattle's obviously making a push. Anaheim's kind of ruffling around a little bit. But, yeah, I mean, the division, you know, could be won. You know, it definitely could coming up with those. I mean, you got Highway 1, you know, and your shortstop. You know, you got center field. You got a big donkey over there. You're not too far off.
We got this kid, Leo DeVries. Have you heard about this kid? He was who we got from Mason Miller. He's like this wonder kid.
Yeah, man. I tell you what. I mean, the A's amateur scouting is definitely, I think, like one of the best. Have all the draft picks ended up staying in Oakland? No, I mean, there's a lot of revolving doors. But if you go back and you look at the homegrown A's talent,
Yeah.
they don't swing and miss much. They don't. I mean, going all the way back to your first base coach, right? I mean, Bobby Crosby, right? I mean, drafting, real good all the way there. So I definitely trust that department. They've all been there a long time and they know what they're doing. But too, we'll see how it pans out.
How refreshing is that? Because
they went out and got Cespedes too. A lot of people swung and missed on Cespedes.
Yeah, it was Billy Owens who was like, got to get this guy. But it's like, and there he is.
There he is in the flesh.
And
that man has got a lot of dudes.
The thing that you look at the turnover rate now in these front offices, and you think about Eric Kubota's been drafting guys forever. Billy Owens has been here almost 30 years. David Force, the GM, almost 30 years. They were all brought in under Billy Beane. Billy Beane is still out there advising when they need him. He's there.
Run that guy's resume.
What
the guys that he's winning.
What does that say to you, an organization that's kept pretty much the same people all these years?
Yeah, it's pretty important. You do see it a lot, like in college, believe it or not, is the loyalty. You don't see it too often in the big leagues. So it is, a real nice feather in the cap for the organization from top to bottom of some of these guys that have been here for a really long time and definitely have a huge thumbprint on the whole org. I mean, all the way from bringing me in after kind of a mediocre year in 2011, and they went and got me basically because they saw me down in winter ball, when I was down there
Mexicali.
Run around. Billy was down there. He'll tell you the story. He saw me down there and was like, I'm going to get you one of these days. He told me. Yeah. And I said, that's all I want to do, man, is wear white cleats.
All right, I want to get into what I talked about earlier today. Remember, Lou Merloni real well, right?
Yeah.
So Lou Merloni was talking about Bregman rolls in, and immediately he changes everything because he's a winner. He was talking about in the very first start after the very first opening day, he took can't remember who was catching, but he took Crochet. Said, "Hey, from third base, I was seeing this." They went and watched video together. This is a guy who's just shown up. It's the very first game. He's pulling guys aside, making them watch video. Then he's talking about how he's going to the cages. He's helping out the young guys. He's doing all this kind of stuff. Not about him. It's about trying to win. He's trying to help the guy. It made me think of you. Yeah. And it made me think of all this data and all the analytics when they're, now we're hearing ERA doesn't matter because he had a good FIP and look at the XFIP and all this kind of, it's like the stuff that a guy like Bregman brings, the stuff that you brought to the 2012 team. Talk about how that should matter in meetings like this, because that's how you win. You got to have veteran guys who get everybody pulling on the same rope.
Yeah, I tell you what, being fortunate to be in between the lines of the big leagues. And my career started with the Devil Rays, when we're losing 100 games.
Devil Rays.
The Devil Rays. Yeah. We're losing 100 games a year. But what I was fortunate enough, my first big league spring training was 2004. To my right was Fred McGriff, and to my left was Tino Martinez. That was the most important 4 weeks that, I really had, and I wasn't playing. I mean, this is just locker talk. And what they had going on and winning and this. And, you got Tino with the Yankees and Fred with all the Atlanta stuff. And it's just over my head and under my head, but just all the information that I gathered. And, what I learned was, winning is really tough, right? It is really tough, but there's only a couple things that you have to do right. And there's only a couple things that you can't do wrong, right? And if you just sit to those simple things without worrying about numbers that go up and go down. So if you think about that, numbers that go up and down, it's really tough to get, lost as a player. If you only worry about numbers that go up, wins, runs, hits, losses, numbers that only go up. If you focus on those and you kind of break those down, it simplifies things as a player, and you can really talk to other players about those numbers. Hey, we're sitting at a 1.7 and then we went to a 3.3 and then we went down to something with a decimal point, but if you just focus on numbers that go up, it simplifies it. And as simple as it sounds, it does take someone who's been in the arena and has learned that from a vet to give that back, to some of the young guys.
So many of these guys, I get it. They're going to delve so much into the analytics, and they should, but a lot of them were players too. It's they can't forget that aspect of the game of you've got to have a certain one or two guys in that clubhouse. There has to be somebody in there that can lead the charge. As great head coaches or great managers say, when you have that kind of leadership, they don't have to discipline. Yeah. They don't have to do that type. Unless like in 2012, Bob Melvin allowed you to handle it.
Yeah. Yeah, man. I mean, it's tough. It's a long season. You learn a lot. You know, you learn a lot from winning. You know, you really do. You know, I was looking at, you know, the Red Sox too with that young core that, you know, we're getting into the playoffs. You're looking at that young core in Milwaukee. You know, when you're fortunate to get, you know, deep with your young core of guys, you learn so much because believe it or not, those 11 wins in October are more important than anything else that you'll ever be a part of in this game. And, you know, there's books out there, there's all this out there, but, you know, being a part of it and being in the arena is absolutely game changing. And with the analytics, like, I won't say I'm an analytic guy, right? But
you are.
But if they were wrong, they would go away. Like,
yeah.
They are right. It is 100% a results-driven
Are you
industry.
still working with that company?
No, I broke off with them. I learned enough and then kind of took off, right?
Yeah.
I'm a nomad, right? Just getting feathers in my cap.
Yeah, you were working with a tech company.
Yeah.
They had some pretty fancy stuff.
Yeah, I couldn't come on here again and be like, I'm a tech guy. That was only like 2 years. 2 years worth.
You don't want that to ruin your image.
Yeah,
right?
I got too much street cred to be a
How's the
guy.
family? How's the kids?
Families are good, man. We're in Scottsdale, Arizona. I get back home a lot up to Petaluma and Cotati with the facility up there. Train kids, hit kids, represent them up there. Moving and shaking, man. Moving and shaking. All good, healthy, happy.
The great Jonny Gomes. I'm telling you, we got to get you back in doing A stuff.
Let's go. I was telling someone the other day, when I was doing pre and post, was that like 3 years ago? I think I did like 35, 40 games, and I think I saw him win like 2. And I wasn't drinking the Kool-Aid. But would it be no? I'm back. I'm drinking the Kool-Aid.
I gotta let everybody know Johnny's drinking the Kool-Aid again.
Yeah, I am.
Everybody back home.
Don't let me down. Don't let me down.
I'm telling you, I got to get you to that experience center. You walk in there, like I can show you pictures.
Yeah, I'm in.
So from my room at the MGM, my room was looking right down.
Okay.
The whole bottom levels. It's already the building is coming up from the ground. And I'm telling you, it's going to change.
I could drive there, buddy. You give me the invite.
It changes everywhere. There was this narrative out there, and the guys that, you know, obviously didn't want to see it happen, everything out there on social media. But now when people start to see the building rise from the ground, it's change. I can tell you, being here and everybody asks, so many people asking us about it because they all saw the ballpark experience and everything. Things are changing, my friend.
You build it, they will come.
The great Jonny Gomes.
All right, boss. Appreciate.
I will talk to you a little more during these meetings. You be well.
I will be. Stay out of Disneyland. It's too busy. Stay here.
It's too far from. We're here at Disney.
Yeah.
And yet we're not even close to the front gates.
No.
Have you ever been to Disney World?
Yes.
I've never been.
Yes.
I've only done Disneyland right in Anaheim.
Well, if you want me to flex, I've been to Southern California, Disney. I've been to this Disney World, Paris, and Tokyo.
Which is the best?
Oh, Mickey Mouse. I'm not a Disney dad. No, I don't try. Really try and avoid lines with kids.
But you got like 5 kids, so of course you're doing Disney.
Yeah. Just check it off.
You're at 5 now, right? Or 6?
Touchdown.
You're at 7?
7. Yeah.
You have 7 now?
Look at my jeans, bro. Why would I stop?
Are you stopping? Or is
yeah, it's kind of a lot right now. I mean, we're upgrading cars and stuff.
I mean, is your wife looking at it going, bro, really? 7?
She's in the fight, man. She loves it. She's the best woman on the planet. She's homeschooling.
I mean, 2 more, you got a starting 9.
That's twins. I'm twins away. Think about it. Twins away from 9 young Gomeses. That's some alphas.
What's the oldest? How old?
16.
Youngest?
4 months.
Oh my God.
Yeah, if you don't like it, I love it. I'm father of the year 7 times going. Got a whole tribe. It's like the big goose with the ducks behind them. The little yellow ducks. That's me.
You're gonna be like 70 when the kids graduate high school.
Got no plan of slowing down, so it's all good.
He's a beast.
No plan.
All right, my man. Be well.
Okay.
Go say hi to Billy Owens.
That's my guy.
I know. He's the best. You want us to break? All right. Coming up next, Sarris is going to explain to us, get this, ERA doesn't matter anymore. ERA doesn't matter anymore. I can't wait. Right here on A's Cast Live.
A's first base coach Bobby Crosby joined Townie on A's Cast Live to reflect on winning the American League Rookie of the Year award back in 2004.
Yeah, when I first won it, I thought it was really cool, but I was in the midst of playing, and I still had, a bunch of my career left to go. Once I was done playing, I appreciated it more, and now I start to appreciate it more and more as time goes on. I mean, it's something that, they can never take away from you. So no matter what, I'll always have that title, and it looks like we're going to have another one doing the same thing.
You can watch the full interview at youtube.com/athletics or listen at athletics.com/A'sCast.
When it comes to knocking it out of the park, nobody beats Folsom Lake Ford. Folsom Lake Ford is a 7-time Triple Crown Award winner, Ford Motor Company's highest honor, for being the best in customer satisfaction in sales, service, and finance. Step up to the plate for our biggest selection of new Ford models, including the legendary F-150, on sale now. Shop Folsom Lake Ford, your truck headquarters in the Folsom Auto Mall. FolsomLakeFord.com.
That ball is out of here.
The time is now. Grab your sunglasses, A's gear, and get ready for some fun in the sun. Spring training is back as the Athletics get ready for the 2026 season. Now's the time to make plans to catch us in Mesa, Arizona, starting on February 22nd, and enjoy the sunshine of your family and friends. Grab your tickets early for the best seats at the lowest prices as your green and gold take on the Dodgers, Giants, Cubs, Padres, and more at Ho-Ho-Cam Stadium. Don't wait. Get your tickets at athletics.com/spring. That's athletics.com/spring.
Unlock offers and receive exclusive in-game features by downloading the MLB Ballpark app for iPhone and Android today. Plus, get the latest information on game time, schedules, and more.
2025 Roberto Clemente Award nominee Lawrence Butler sat down with Townie on A's Cast Live to talk about giving back to the community and what it truly means to him.
I mean, I learned from some of the best. Marquise Grissom, Luke Collier. I mean, a lot of those guys, they just always, just wanted to pour into, their communities. And, I was a part of their communities. And, they made a lot of good ball players with the work they've been doing. So, I just try to take a page out of their book and just do the same, for my community and just really any community that I'm living in the moment. So, like you said, Atlanta, North California, and, no matter where I'm at, I just want to, just help kids and help the community, just try to grow the game.
You can watch the full interview at youtube.com/athletics or listen at athletics.com/A'sCast.
The A's YouTube page is your go-to destination for A's video content. Get access to great highlights, exclusive behind-the-scenes content, classic games, A's Cast Live, and more. Visit youtube.com/athletics. Looking to stay up to date on all things A's? Head over to athletics.com/A'sCast. That's athletics.com/A'sCast to listen to A's baseball in full 24/7 coverage of the A's, only on A's Cast. With a single click, you can stream great shows, live, pre- and post-game coverage, and of course, all the great action of the A's this season. Head to athletics.com/A'sCast today.
A's manager Mark Kotze joined Townie on A's Cast Live to reflect on the seasons of Nick Kurtz and Jacob Wilson and their impact in 2025.
Well, he's really humble, and that's the first thing that stands out for me. He's just a kind young man that's quietly become a leader. He's obviously outperformed any level of expectation that we had. He's got 3 games left to continue to add on to an already, to me, pretty historic rookie season. So I'm privileged to be able to have an opportunity to manage him and be a part of this success.
Yeah, it's been he's going to be Rookie of the Year, another Rookie of the Year. A lot of rookie years in this franchise's history, and definitely one of the best rookie years of all time. Jacob Wilson finishing strong here at shortstop. What do you think first full season for Jacob? Obviously started the All-Star games.
Yeah, I mean, another kid that you can say very similar things about. He might not have the power, but the bat-to-ball skills are what separate him. And, I've been so impressed with his maturity this season. A lot of guys, and what I was worried about in the course of a season, you're going to hit the wall, you're going to lose weight, you're going to get less physical. This young man has actually gotten stronger during the course of the season, which says a lot about the work he's putting in and understanding, what it's going to take to play 160 games. I mean, we've got one individual in our lineup that's going to play all 162 games. The goal is to get 4 or 5 of those guys obviously built up to withstand that type of season and that type of rigor. I mean, for Rook, it's, he gets the DH spot. We're going to work those DH spots to give these guys some breaks, but it'd be fun to see, 6 or 7 guys play 150-plus games.
You can watch the full interview at youtube.com/athletics or listen at athletics.com/A'sCast.
Streaming from the winter meetings, A's Cast Live continues with Chris Townsend.
He is our national baseball columnist from The Athletic. Sarris is with us. It's the winter meetings. It's a great time of the year. You guys all came from somewhere. Writers, you guys always got stuff going on. What's happening here in Orlando?
It's mostly been the comedy errors for me. I got locked out of my computer. I went to the wrong bar last night. I was in the wrong hotel. It was raining. So off on the wrong foot, but I'll get there.
I'm happy you're not hungover this year.
That's great. Yeah,
you're
you
ready
got me
to rock.
fresh-eyed and beautiful on day one. Yeah, watch me when I walk out of here on Thursday.
Yeah. No, I'm glad we got you early. Big things that you're expecting here in Orlando to happen.
The thing I'm watching the most is the Framber market. Framber Valdez is a really interesting pitcher where he's just been really consistently great. And, he's a little different than what, some of the biggest deals that have gone down, the Garrett Cole deals or the Max Scherzer deals. He's not like a strikeout guy as much as he's a strikeouts with ground balls type guy. But he's been successful on the top levels, and he's been so, consistent all this time. And yet we also have this really high-profile moment this year where he had an interaction with a teammate that that left us cold. I mean, if you don't know what I'm talking about, there's this moment where, Framber, the catcher thinks he's called the wrong pitch, and he's telling Framber to step off. Framber throws anyway, gives up a grand slam. He's really pissed about it. On the next pitch, the catcher calls for a slider, and Framber throws a fastball right at his chest protector. Basically, looks like Framber crossed up his catcher and threw it as catcher on purpose. Showed very little remorse when he sort of walked around.
Didn't go well in the clubhouse.
And it was a big deal nationally. Everybody was talking about it. A couple pieces of context. I did this piece on makeup recently where we started with Framber and kind of went into how do you scout makeup. And there's a couple things that are interesting. One thing is when you're scouting makeup, when you're thinking, okay, there's 3 questions, first of all, with makeup. One is he going to do something outside the lines that's going to end up costing us? Right. That's like the sort of, I hate to say it, like the Emmanuel Clase or the Wander Franco.
Worst case scenario.
The worst case scenario, right?
Yeah.
Like, is there something? That's one. 2 is, does he care? Like, is he going to get the most out of his skills? Is he going to be a person that is like coachable and interested in getting the most out of his skills? And then 3, is he a good teammate? So each of these is kind of fraught with like interesting things that you can think about. So one that like kind of is through all of them is sort of cultural differences. Another is when I'm scouting makeup, it's my personality and your personality like it's two people interacting.
Mm-hmm.
And so somebody, could look at someone who throws the helmet around, right? After a strikeout and say, that guy cares. That guy cares. He wants to win. I want that kind of player on my team. Or you're the kind of personality where you're like, man, if I was in that dugout and he threw the helmet and it hit me, I'd be super pissed. And that's just eyewash. And, that's two people's personality interacting with the same player and coming away with different ideas of what that player
Makes
is
me
like.
think of Tyler Soderstrom. When Tyler Soderstrom first came up, they're like, does this guy really
does he care?
Yes, he does. He's just he's an even keeled human being. Not too up, not too down. Lawrence Butler, on the other hand, wears his emotions on his sleeves. That's exactly what you're talking about.
Yeah.
Both guys care the same.
Both
They're
guys
just different personalities.
You want them on your team.
And best buddies.
Yeah. With Fromber, there's some context that's interesting, which is that he has a bit of a problem with a self-avowed problem with intensity. He's super intense.
Yeah.
He is he's the pitcher version of a helmet tosser, right? So he's worked with a psychologist to calm down his emotions.
Wow.
And one of the things the psychologist tells him to do when he's in a moment that it's too much and he can't handle it is to walk off the mound, turn his back on the fans and home plate, look to the outfield, and breathe and find himself. That's exactly what he did after he crossed the catcher up. And we all read it as he hates that catcher and he doesn't want to say he's sorry and he doesn't want to. He was doing like a coping technique.
Yeah.
He was like, oh, wait, okay.
He's on the verge of rage.
This is bad.
Yeah.
I need to turn around and breathe and like look at the grass and pretend I'm back in the Dominican or something. He just, whatever his coping mechanism that he worked on, he was doing that. And we all read it one way when it was maybe another way. So I'm not trying to excuse all the behavior. It did really look like he threw at his catcher. And if you were another team, it was like, are you going to throw at our catchers? And are you going to be coachable?
Yeah.
But, he's added a cutter. He's changed the way he's pitched a little bit at times. The intensity could be read as like good intensity.
He's pitched in a lot of big games, and that's what you want.
He's been really good. So then the flip side is he's 32. Mostly you want to you give your bigger deals to 28 and 29-year-olds. So, it's maybe not the best mix there. Normally you kind of want to give it to big strikeout guys and stuff like that. So, I just think it's a fascinating deal. Is he going to get 210, 220, or is he going to be more like 5 and 150 and these things pushed his market down?
Yes. And, whenever somebody leaves the Astros, it's like always interesting if the guy's leaving because the Astros have kind of been the model we've looked at and went, I kind of want to be like the Astros where they have a dollar limit on everybody. And if you exceed that, they're going to move on, but they're still going to be successful.
Yep. Kyle Tucker,
they've been really smart, right?
All these guys left. Yeah.
Garrett Cole left it stuff for an astronomical. That was a whole different ball game. But I mean, most of the guys they let go of, they're able to replace. All of a sudden you got Jeremy Pena and he's winning the World Series MVP.
Yeah.
Bye, Carlos Correa. The whole ERA thing. We're not. Please tell me we're not. We totally completely dismissed batting average, but now we realize I want a guy with power and batting average. We can still stick with that. But now the ERA thing, because the Dylan Cease thing, when you looked at it, and we really didn't have the ability to talk about it, but it was like, pitch to Petco Park, good pitcher's ballpark, good team, good defense. But on the road, he had a 5.55 ERA. He was not very good on the road. And then it was like, well, let's not look at ERA. It's like, I don't know. Are we completely poo-pooing ERA? Where are we on this?
Well, I mean, the problems with ERA and batting average and RBI are not that they don't measure anything. They measure something. The problem is that they're not predictive. They don't predict themselves very well. So
they are just what they are.
They tell more of a story of what happened than what's going to happen. And then also the things that you want to measure with them are better measured or more specifically measured with other things. So what do you want to measure with RBI? You want to measure power and contact ability, right? Well, why don't I just use strikeout rate and exit velocities, or power numbers, right? Oh, now I've measured the two things in RBI, and I've taken the team context out, and I've taken the how many runners are on base and what happened on that day on Tuesday. You know what I mean? Like, I've taken that out, and I've said the thing that RBI wants to measure, I've measured it better with these two specific things.
There is you have no idea how guys got on in front of them. I understand all that. Yeah.
So ERA is kind of the same thing where ERA can, especially over a whole career, ERA actually becomes a very good thing because Tom Glavine is an example. Tom Glavine beat his supporting metrics year over year. But you can't anoint everybody who beats the peripherals Tom Glavine, because there's a lot of guys who do that in 2 or 3 years, but don't do it for their whole career. Glavine did it for so long that you can say, okay, I'm going to look at his ERA, not his fielding independent pitching, which is based on strikeouts and walks. You can do that when you're looking at a career guy. So if you're looking for the Hall of Fame, ERA, that's fine. That's fine.
You get a plaque in Cooperstown.
Yeah, 1,500. Billy Wagner's 210 career ERA. That matters. It's in 700 innings. It's a lot,
But year to year, you're saying just look at strikeouts versus walks?
Strikeouts versus walks is more powerful. Fielding independent pitching is more powerful. There's a bunch of different metrics that are out that are just more powerful because they get at the true talent. Like with RBI, and you're looking at power and contact. You look at these other metrics and you're looking at, does he strike guys out? Does he limit walks? Does he limit homers? Those are the building blocks. And that's why those things are more predictive.
But how do you explain a Cease with a 5.55 ERA on the road? He got hammered.
So Cease is pretty interesting because he has been worse than his predicted metrics for most of the careers of his season. He's had two good seasons where he's actually sort of played to what the metrics said he should, and then he's had 4 other ones where he's been, kind of not great. And it is fair to point to the fact that he's a 2-pitch pitcher for the most part.
Yeah.
Fastball, slider. And what happens when you're a fastball slider guy is the more times a player see you, the batters see you, you don't have any more wrinkles for them. So third time through the order, you start getting hit harder because they're like, I've seen the fastball, I've seen the slider, I'm ready, I know what you're going to do. But I've seen that, late last year, Dylan Cease was throwing his other secondaries about a quarter of the time. So I think he's got the ability to add other pitches. I think that'll be part of what they do in Toronto. I wouldn't be surprised if they look at a splitter with him because Toronto throws more splitters than any other team in the big leagues. And then I go back to the Tom Glavine thing. You can say that Dylan Cease is worse than his peripherals for now, but there are a lot of people who do that for a little bit of time and then things even out. Maybe we look back at the end of his career and we say he's the anti-Tom Glavine. He's the guy who pitched to below. But I'm not comfortable saying that yet. Also, how many other starting pitchers are there that strike out 30%, strike out nearly a third of the batters they see? Very few. And if you look at that list, they're all good. So,
you're hoping. You're hoping he's going to be like those guys. Yeah.
Another thing is,
$200 million worth hoping.
Well, deferrals, it's the contract comp is actually Snell. With deferrals, the present value of that deal is 180. So I think he's a lot like Snell. Snell up and down,
doesn't throw a lot of innings.
Could win you a Cy Young. Doesn't Cease throws more innings.
Well, Snell only gave us what last year? 11 starts.
I know.
Yeah.
But he's like Snell in that, you don't know necessarily what you're going to get year to year, but the upside is really good.
You're hoping on upside.
And I think the Blue Jays are like, hey, we got, 6 starting pitchers. We're probably with Cease in hand and with Cody Ponce they signed. And it's not so much about having enough pitchers as do we have a guy who can start game 1 of the playoffs? And it's, they didn't really have that. Even with Scherzer and Bassett and Berrios, and it was like a Savage that had to come through and it had to be a rookie, right? So I think the buy is here with Cease is man, we're going to have some lost years maybe. There's going to be some bad years on here. But if he is are number one in a playoff series in a year we win the World Series, this whole contract would have been worth it.
When you talk about being able to predict, with the number one thing here right now when we're looking at all these free agents, how do we predict guys as they get older and what they'll be able to do as they get older?
I mean, for pitchers, I would go with strikeouts minus walks and pitch fastball velocity, because you're only going to lose velocity. So if you're starting from a low point, you're closer to being out. I mean, that's what the big leagues is. If you have 89-mile-an-hour fastball in the big leagues, you're not in the big leagues.
Once we start testing for steroids as you get older, things start going down.
You're right. Yeah, the aging curves are different now. Yeah, and on the batting
you're
side,
not hitting 45 jacks at 38 anymore. Yeah.
Well, this is a big one for Scott Harris, who left the Giants and went to the Tigers. I think strikeouts minus walks on both sides for pitchers and hitters. Control the zone. Do you control the zone well?
We don't talk a lot about that with hitters. It's always something we talk about with pitchers.
But like Alex Bregman controls the zone really well. I would love it. Like my perfect guy that I give a lot of money to is more like a Soto, who controls the zone really well and has premium bat speed. Bregman controls the zone really well, makes the most out of his bat speed. He won't get a $700 million contract. So, that's what's going on.
Do you think
but those are the things I think
Schwarber
people care about.
ages well?
He controls the zone really well and has premium bat speed. So the only thing you're missing is defense. So I think he actually gets a pretty good deal. Like he'll get the best deal for a DH ever. So
I'd give it to him.
33-year-old DH.
And there's something when you talk about Bregman, when you talk about Schwarber, we're just talking about with Jonny Gomes, that guy who brings that winning type leadership type mentor. You need those guys on winning teams.
Yeah, I think he's had a really interesting career too, where he came up and he had a hole at the top of the zone and he was a low ball slugger, and then he figured out the top of the zone and he figured out how to use metrics and put them into his process. Every time I talk to Kyle Schwarber, I'm like, this is the dude. This is the dude that calms people down. He's calming presence, veteran presence, that also can talk to people who didn't like analytics and convince them maybe that the analytics can help them, or people who are too into the analytics and be like, do what you feel. He's really been on both sides of that.
You are the best, my friend. And we got you early.
Yeah.
You're like fresh and bright and cute right now.
I'll come by and let you guys see.
Can we
my
get
Thursday
Wednesday?
face.
Can we get a
Wednesday?
late Wednesday?
I'll just do a little. I'll do like.
All right. If anything breaks, let us know.
All right.
The great Eno Sarris right here on A's Cast Live. We're going to switch up. Billy Owens is going to come in here, and you be well, my friend. Billy Owens, assistant general manager for the Athletics. Heard he was here, immediately texted him. Do we what? No, we don't have anything. We're down here like in the convention area, Billy O. We're not even close to any of that. By the way, this man was a star at Bellman Prep, then at the University of Arizona. He's been with the Athletics his entire professional career. Outside of playing, he's been with the Athletics his entire professional career. Do you ever look back and go, that's amazing?
I wouldn't say it's amazing. It's been a great opportunity, especially being a kid from San Jose, growing up, watching the Athletics, watching the Giants, Raiders, 49ers, the San Jose Sharks. They weren't in existence then, but it's been a great ride. Bay Area, then Sacramento's been exceptional as well. Actually, I have a lot of family in Sacramento. They love going to the games there. And after the general managers meetings this year in Las Vegas, we walked the sites over there right there.
Pretty amazing, huh?
Oh, pretty cool, man. Just the whole transformation. It's exciting. That's 2028. And honestly, we got a good team on the field in 26 and 27 in Sacramento. I can't wait till spring training.
Wait till you go to the ballpark experience in Vegas that we just opened up. It's unreal.
I mean, everything about Vegas is just entertainment capital. You're seeing, I think they won 2 out of the last three WNBA championships. The Knights have won an NHL championships. The food, the entertainment, the shopping, the music. I mean, you might roll in there and watch Usher and, see who's ever the latest and greatest and enjoy a baseball game too, man.
Yeah, we're just
and the Raiders, right?
I just looked up and it's like Bruno Mars is going to be here for New Year's. I mean, it's unbelievable. How excited are you for the 2026 Athletics?
Really excited. I mean, just seeing how that second half transpired, doing these shows the last couple of years, knowing that the influx of talent, the variety that we had coming forward. We saw a lot of that on the hitting side last year. Actually, the pitching is going to be exceptional. And just to lead it off, too, before I forget, we have a kid named Wei-In Lean, a Taiwanese kid. And, with Gage jump coming and Perkins, you saw what he did, and Morales, Wei-In Lin fits in that conversation. I mean, I call him like the Taiwanese I call him Snellzilla, Taiwanese style. I mean, this guy's 6'3". He's got a knee buckling curve. He'll top out at 96 miles an hour. I think he had like 100 strikeouts last year to like 18 walks between low A, high A, double A. Really big personality. Yeah, so I think
the Taiwanese Blake Snell.
Yeah. And this kid, when all the publications come out by the end of the year, I can see him being, he's like 20 as far as one publication. I know for a fact another publication is going to put him in their top 5 pretty soon here.
Yeah.
And I think he's going to be a consensus top 5. And Wei-In Lin, the Taiwanese Blake Snell, I think he's a top 100 overall prospect by April 1st. And I can see him making his major league debut before his 21st birthday this year.
What about Arnold out of Florida State?
Oh, he's a bad boy. I mean, Arnold, we were fortunate to get Wilson at 6. We were extremely fortunate to get Kurtz at 4.
Blessed
to
get Kurtz at 4.
And Arnold at 12. Honestly, it's going to be a trifecta. I really believe those are 3. I mean, just unbelievable values of where we picked. And Arnold's going to be a quick mover. He's got a little Chris Sale to him with the unusual slot. And the fastball is, up to 97. Swing miss breaker. The changeup's on the come. The strikeouts his sophomore year had him in position to be possibly the first pick of the draft. And the way his second year transpired, we were fortunate and blessed, just like Kurtz, just like Wilson. For Arnold to get there at 12, it's going to be a revelation.
What kind of impact do you think Gage Jump can have this year on the team?
Jump's a guy, too. I mean, go back to his Jay Sarah to UCLA briefly, had the great draft year at LSU. Last year, he had a handful of starts in high A ball, finished strong in double A for the majority of the season. 2 really good starts in the double A playoffs. Yeah, he's a guy. He's got a chance to be a legit third starter. I kind of comp him. He's like the American version of Kikuchi. You saw Kikuchi for the Angels, Blue Jays, Mariners. Gage Jump is he's in that Kikuchi plus conversation.
It's high praise.
Yeah, I feel comfortable saying it too. Gage Jump's a guy.
Yeah, because you weren't lying about Morales. When last time when we had you on talk about Morales, you said this kid's going to be something special. He showed up and wowed everybody. I'm sure you're not shocked by that.
Oh, Morales was fun. I mean, the fact that he was hitting 100, he's got really good breaking stuff. The changeup could be tantalizing. And the thing about what's so exciting about Luis Morales is some guys get to the big leagues and the moment's almost a little bit too big and they got to kind of, dip their toe in the water. He's the type of kid that got to the major leagues and it was like he was waiting his whole life to get here, and his competition, his style of play, the stuff, everything got better, and he was thirsty. The workouts, everything was more crisp once he got to the major leagues because he knew that was his destination.
Yeah, well, he's going to be a big part. And I feel like we could see where it's like, take the training wheels off. Let this kid go.
I said Morales, I mean, you talk to Scott Emerson, Mark Kotze was so impressed. But, he pitched a little bit in the pro leagues over there in Cuba. We saw him at, various international events, signed him aggressively. And that's going to turn out to be a bargain because I'm telling you, when this kid was really good in Double-A, really good in Triple-A, and his stuff got better in the major leagues. His fastball went from 97 to 100. The breaking stuff had more tilt. The changeup was off the table. His command got better in the major leagues, which is hard to do. Morales is a dude, 100%. Morales is a dude.
There's no doubt about it. Speaking of future dude, I've been waiting to ask you, because you're the man of all comps, Leo DeVries.
Oh, yeah. Leo DeVries, man. I mean,
people need to realize Leo DeVries was never really – the Padres were in on him so early. They gave him $4.2 million when he was like he had like an agreement by the time he was 14. The public and most scouts never got to really see this kid. Is that correct? He was hidden.
He was hitting, and A.J. Preller, he's done a fantastic job over there. I mean, people talk about sometimes he acquires Juan Soto. Juan Soto has a good run for them. Then he trades Juan Soto to the Yankees. He gets Michael King back and a bunch of other guys. So they always got talent, man. I mean, San Diego, they got an influx of talent coming in, internationally, domestically, you name it. And he makes good trades. And so Mason Miller is a monster. We've been on this show talking about Miller throwing 100 and his breaking stuff being unreal and his 2 strikeouts, per inning in the major leagues. But Leo DeVries is a monster. Switch hitter, saw his last series in Double-A where he homered from both sides of the plate. He finished this year with like over a 500 slug. His on-base skills are so advanced for a young age, a teenager, and he's between high A and Double-A. He's like a 370, 380 on-base guy. His walk-to-strikeout ratio is phenomenal. He can play shortstop. The only thing that might hold him back from being a true shortstop in the end, because he's a big man. I mean, so the comps can go all the way from, Jose Ramirez just from a playing standpoint, Ketel Marte from athleticism. And he's such a big, strong guy that this kid might be Chipper Jones, man. I mean, this kid's a freak, man. I mean, so it's like
Chipper was a shortstop out of high school.
Yeah, exactly. And Lindor, because this guy is going to fill out and get a lot stronger.
He's bigger than Lindor.
Yeah,
a lot bigger.
Yeah, and Lindor is still a perennial 30 home run guy.
People want to use Lindor as a comp, but I was looking at him going, this kid's like 18 years old. He's almost a $190 already.
Yeah, he's a grown man, and we know you don't get smaller as you age, and the power. For it,
he's gonna when he fills out and he gets into his prime, he's gonna be over 200 pounds.
He definitely be over 200 pounds. Definitely be a 30-plus home run guy in the major leagues, and he might tip the scales, in the 40s at some point. Yeah, it's hard to say this. A star is born, but yeah, he's so physical that you go from a Lindor, you go from a Marte, but you really dream and. At some point, Chipper Jones might come into conversation.
Chipper Jones. You ever heard of him?
I believe he's in the Hall of Fame.
Yeah, he's got a plaque in Cooperstown. So where do you defensively? Because that's the question we have. Jacob Wilson. With Jacob Wilson there at short, I mean, somebody's going to have to move.
Yeah, and like I said, DeVries can definitely play shortstop. He's physical. He's got great hands. He's still 18, 19 years old. Wilson, last year, he was second to Rookie of the Year to Nick Kurtz, obviously. He had 311 behind Aaron Judge, only second in the American League. And actually, I think he tied for second or third in overall. I think Bo Bichette was right there with him. And so Jacob, he still was like in his third or second year of professional baseball. And so I saw the defensive metrics, and he's really solid, but I still think Jacob has a chance to blossom and get better on the defensive side.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, and he's going to be his second, third year, so he's going to be able to use the same data, understand his body going forward, really concentrate in the offseason on stuff he can work on. So I still think, I've comped Jacob Wilson to Derek Jeter before, that 6'3", lithe body. Obviously, everybody saw the fantastic bat-to-ball skills, and I think the defense goes up a notch this year. And you can't, Julian Edelman played quarterback in college and ended up being a good receiver, so you can't pigeonhole where guys play. But the best player at youth level plays shortstop, and then at the big league level, you're probably going to acquire a lot of shortstops, and then at some point, it's funny, I ran into Eric Davis out here earlier.
Eric the Red,
man, great Fremont High School, and who has a power. Ricky Henderson, the late great Ricky Henderson, and Eric Davis, they're the only two major leaguers all time that have a 25 homer, 80 steal season. I think Ronald Acuna was close to that a couple years ago. And so, but he was a high school shortstop.
Yeah.
Yeah, Eric the Red ended up being a great center fielder. But
it's kind of like in football, you draft a tight end because that tight end could get slimmer, become a wide receiver, bulk him up, put a tackle, make him a defensive tackle, make him a linebacker.
Yeah.
Shortstop's the same way. Shortstop can be a center fielder, third baseman. I mean, there's certain positions that you draft, you guys scouts see, and you say, you know, he could be a lot of different things.
Yeah, normally, I mean, very rarely you're going to go see a high school second baseman. And even then, like a Jaron Duran, fleet-footed outfielder for the Red Sox, who played a lot of second base. So in that defensive spectrum, he might go to the outfield from second base. But a shortstop is kind of like a chess piece. And so obviously you always project him playing shortstop. But if you already have a Lindor at short, you try to figure out where you're going to maneuver the chess piece on the diamond.
Max Muncy, who I know you're also high on, I would like to I don't know if DeVries shows up this year, definitely by next year. I'd like to see Max Muncy be given the shot to play third base this year. Say at spring training, go get him.
Yeah, Max Muncy, it's funny with all him having the same name as Max Muncy for the Dodgers and the same birth date, but he actually played high school ball with Jacob Wilson out there at Thousand Oaks, California for Jacob's dad, Jack. But yeah, I mean, Max Muncy showed a lot of power potential last year. Got a chance to really improve the plate discipline. I think his defense gets better. Max is like 23 years old. His defense gets better. He's an athlete. He's going to get a chance to be versatile. And he played a lot of third base last year for us. He got a chance to play third base, second base, even touch the outfield. But, yeah, I mean, the way our team's configured, if he got the bulk of his duties at third base, I think he can make the adjustments and continue to get better. And Max Muncy definitely has a high ceiling. I mean, he's got 25-plus homer potential, and he's an above-average athlete at the major leagues. And where he settles defensively, that'll define itself.
What can you say about a guy like Tyler Soderstrom, who went from catcher to first base and then said, you know, if Kurtz is coming up, I'll go out to left field. Go out, play the left field that he did, have the year he had offensively. I know you've been high on him offensively for a long time. Played a more than adequate, because all of a sudden they started talking about a Gold Glove there.
He finished in the top 3 for Gold Glove.
Yeah, so it just shows you the type of character who Tyler Soderstrom is.
Yeah, Tyler, for what I played with his father, Steve, in the Arizona Fall League. And it is funny talking to Steve and, you know, Mark Kotze, Ed Sprague, our farm director, do a phenomenal job. But Steve definitely kind of pointed out that his son, you know, got drafted as a catcher, but had played a lot of outfield, had played some third base, had played some first base on the travel ball circuit coming up. And so with Nick Kurtz, you know, the fact that, you know, he was going to come in and be a monster at first base, Tyler was open to moving off catcher, you know, touching first base. He played there last year in April, but he definitely was a fish to water when he went to left field. I mean, it didn't affect it. Actually, his hitting got better. His defense was spectacular. Not only was it pretty good, Tyler Soderstrom finished in the top 3 last year in the American League for the Gold Glove in left field. I mean, those are facts. And so he went out there, got comfortable instantaneously. He was hitting bombs line to line. And a kid like Tyler that's just turned 23 years old, and so he was so talented that he got to the big leagues before he could really fine-tune his plate discipline, because he was there. I mean, he forced the issue to get there. But now, okay, I'm facing the best guys in the world. I got to work on X, Y, and Z. He was able to do that in the major leagues, use the offside of the field more, and he ended up pumping out 25 homers. He drove in 95-plus RBIs. He finished in the top 3 in the American League Gold Glove and left field defense, played the whole season at 22 years old. And I'm telling you, it's the tip of the iceberg. This kid's got a chance to be a 35-homer monster. I think the walks keep on climbing. Eventually, he wins the Gold Glove in left field, and he's going to be a dude. He'll make multiple all-star teams. It's definitely a tip of the iceberg what Tyler Soderstrom can do. And the bat's real. The defense ended up being not just good, it was phenomenal. And the plate discipline is going to continue to get better. He'll fine-tune his approach, and he'll be a legit. He'll get that century mark for RBIs, and if he's healthy enough, he'll do it next year.
The great Billy Owens. Always a pleasure to have you on the program.
A's Cast Winter Meetings 2025. When I hopped on the plane to come to Orlando, I was looking forward to doing this. Yeah,
spring training next. Yeah. We'll get you in Mesa.
Yeah, I can't wait. Mesa, maybe might even have to hook one up like in January, February to get ready for Mesa.
All right.
Yeah.
Hey,
yeah.
You heard it right here, Billy. We're booking him for January.
Yeah, can't wait, man. I love doing the A's Cast right here. Chris Townsend, just a great asset to the A's. Can't wait to see our product go from Oakland to Sacramento and Vegas by 2028. And our team, our product on the field in the Sacramento Central Valley, capital of California. We're going to be good next year. Chance to be a playoff team in 2026 and 2027. And by the time we get to Vegas in 2028, our pieces will be on the field. We're going to have variety. We're going to have impact. We're going to have depth all around the diamond. And we're going to be one of the funnest, most exciting, talented teams. And with Mark Kotsay, our leader. I mean, Mark Kotsay, you're talking about Golden Spikes Award winner, 17-year Major League player. And the fact that he was a really good Major League player, somewhat of a star Major League player, and a role player at the end of his career, the fact that he did all three things on the spectrum, he's so relatable. The players, they dig his leadership. And he's done everything. He's been in their shoes, and his communication skills are so high that people gravitate and they follow Mark Kotsay as a tremendous leader. So yeah, it's a great time to be an athletic, Sacramento/Vegas athletic. Love being on the Chris Townsend Show, A's Cast, and Winter Meetings Orlando 2025. Buckle up.
Boom. All right, my man. Enjoy the rest of the meetings. The great Billy Owens right here on A's Cast Live. A's, you're good. Awesome. A's Assistant General Manager Mike Petriello, was he there to hear all that? Is he now fired up for Orlando 2025? Is he there?
I'm not in Orlando, but yeah, I heard most of that.
Where are you?
Oh, I'm back in New York. No winter meetings for me this year.
Yeah, all right. How are you doing?
Hey, I'm great. It's good to see you, Chris. It's been probably since last year.
Yeah. Well, you know what? We've been following you and all your great work, no question. It's really interesting down here as people, this is the road when you start to think about what you're going to be in 2026, what you need to improve on. The road to the 2026 World Series. For some teams, that won't be a reality, but it's how you get better. Do you have a chance to be in the wild card race? Do you have a chance for the division? A lot of decisions are made down here. How much importance do you put on the winter meetings for these franchises?
I mean, as it's different than it used to be, right? Like the classic story is you'd have teams roll up and put a folding table in the lobby and say, open for business, like come find us, and it's not like that anymore because you'd get swarmed by media members and, college kids looking for internships and all this kind of stuff. Most of the front offices and communicate via text message, which I totally get. But I think it also means that it's not so much centered on these 3 days. It's an ongoing process over weeks and weeks. And I know that people get incredibly disappointed if a monster move isn't made this week, but it's not the end of the winter. Pete Alonso could sign next week. Kyle Schwarber could sign next month. We've seen these things drag out. So I think it's a great, midwinter meetup of the entire industry, but I don't think it's necessarily the end of the world if the move you want to see made doesn't get made right now in Orlando.
You get to see the polar bear a lot. Obviously, set the record for most home runs in Mets franchise history. The rumors are he's driving up from Tampa to meet with the Red Sox or the Orioles. You just, can anybody love this guy? He's got to drive up. He's got it's like you'd think most teams they'd be flying to Tampa to get this guy. Instead, he's coming up here. What is it about him that he has to work so hard to find someone to truly buy in and love him?
Yeah, I'm not so sure it's that he's going to have a hard time finding a job, and I'm not sure he would show up in person if it wasn't nearby. Like, if you know one thing about Pete Alonso, aside from obviously the great right-handed power, he seems like a real friendly, personable guy. He's outgoing. He loves the media. And I think this is probably his best last shot at a long-term deal. Yeah. When his next deal ends, he's going to be in his mid-30s. He's probably not going to get another deal. So if you are a job seeker, even one as very qualified as he is, you do everything you can to go out and find the best job for you. And you got to remember too, it's not just like the team's interviewing him. He's interviewing them. He wants to go talk to these guys and say, okay, well, sell me on your team. Prove to me that you're going to build a winner around me. And can you have your agent do that via text message? Sure. But if you can go in and talk to someone face to face, just at the cost of a couple hours car ride, why not do that? I love that he's going.
Yeah, that's like the latest of the news. And also CJ Abrams. We knew Mackenzie Gore was going to be supposedly shopped down here. Now we're hearing CJ Abrams. That's interesting because that's who they got for Juan Soto back in the day. So we'll keep abreast on that. I know from the A's standpoint that they've thrown out a few extensions that to young players, trying to get them to sign. We saw that happen with Brent Rooker, who's not a young player, but we saw that with Lawrence Butler. I know a few of these contracts have been offered. When you think going forward, what do you see with the Athletics and the future with these young players who we're all, as you just heard, Billy Owens, assistant general manager, they're very high on?
Yeah, it's funny. Anytime there's a team who's, let's call them rebuilding or whatever you want to call it, obviously have not been successful for a couple of years, and you're trying to get to that next good team, a phrase you keep hearing is window, right? You want to have all these guys getting good and successful at the same time. And in the case of the A's, that takes on a double meaning because obviously everybody's looking forward to opening up the new ballpark in Vegas. And the last thing you want to do after everything that's happened the last couple of years is go to a new town, brand new ballpark, and not have a good team on the field. So like you look at what they're doing now, they are building towards that. The offense, I think, could be pretty good. You're missing at least one on infielder, maybe two, but the top five or so of that lineup, it's all pointing in the right direction. And the fact that they're signing some of these guys for years to come, it really gives you some excitement about what this could be in a couple of years. My one concern is, what do you do about pitching for the next year or two? Luis Severino didn't seem to love pitching in West Sacramento. I'm not sure how other veteran free agents will feel that way as well. But as far as hitting goes, it's proven to be a really exciting lineup, a great place to hit. And I wouldn't be surprised if just because of that, you can find a veteran bat who says, you know what, I am interested in that. It's an unorthodox situation, but I do want to play with Lawrence Butler and Nick Kurtz and Jacob Wilson and all these guys. I can totally see that.
Yeah, from the pitching standpoint, it seems like everybody is fishing in that exact same pond. Hey, I want a guy who's not going to be super expensive, but he's going to be effective and give me a lot of innings. Yeah, who doesn't want that guy?
Yeah, I mean, every team in the sport does, right? And hey, not even that. You've had teams that haven't really been, in that market the last couple of years. Now you even have the Rockies who are saying, we are open for business. We know we've been insular and weird the last couple of years. We want to participate. So you're just going to have so much competition for these guys. And at the end of the day, I think it's probably going to come down to a trade more so than a free agent signing, because it's just hard to find these free agent guys because they've got so many other options. Whereas a trade, you can go out and pick and choose and maybe bring someone to you. So I could see them matching up with someone like, I don't know, Miami, some team like that, and finding a good pitcher. That's really interesting.
Yeah, whether it's Miami, I mean, we just saw Sonny Gray go to the Boston Red Sox from the Cardinals. Whether you talk Miami, we're hearing now Nick Pivetta could be available with the Padres. There are some guys out there. I mean, you're going to have to pay that prospect capital. It's not necessarily the cash, it's the prospect capital, but there are guys to get while you're down here.
There are. I mean, if you look at the way the free agent market is shaping up, Dylan Cease already signed, obviously, with Toronto. And as far as the starting pitchers go, there's maybe like two top of the market guys in Framber Valdez, Ranger Suarez. And then after that, there's like an endless sea of number 3.5s, as I call them, like sort of number 3, sort of number 4 guys. Not all of them, I think, are going to be in the market for the A's. Like, it's hard for me to see Justin Verlander signing there, right? But there is just so many other guys who, if you say, well, listen, we want you to come here, and instead of being some other team's number 4 starter, you're our number 2 starter. You're someone who's going to really lead this young group, and we're going to put a really interesting lineup behind you. And oh, by the way, the American League West, which has been a 3-team race for like a decade, you're starting to see some cracks, right? Like the Rangers did not have a good year. The Astros don't look like the old Astros. Yes, Seattle had a good year, no doubt about that. But this isn't like an unbreakable top of the West like it's been for a really long time. Like there's finally an opening there in the division. You can just get some pitching to go out and do it.
Kyle Schwarber, I don't see connected to Kyle Tucker. We always talk about how it's one domino falls and they all start falling. I think they're different players. The one thing about Kyle Tucker, a lot of talk about $400 million. You know, we like to throw the phrase around, and I know you'll be on MLB Network, and our guy Brian Kenny's going to be here tomorrow. Like to talk about aircraft carrier, right? It's an aircraft. Is Kyle Tucker in your mind that guy? Like he's 400 million aircraft. I'm putting out this huge deal and I'm going to my owner and I'm like saying, this is the guy we put on the billboards. This is the guy, the season tickets. This is the guy we build our franchise around. Do you see him as that guy?
He's really good. Like he's really, really good. And I think what's hurting him is if you look at the free agent market of the last few years, forget aircraft carrier. You've had first ballot Hall of Famer, right? You've had Aaron Judge. You've had Juan Soto. You've had Shohei Ohtani, right? Kyle Tucker is not those guys.
Yeah.
And I think he suffers by that comparison just by not being like possibly the greatest player of his generation, because he's not. But he's really good. He's a well-rounded player. He steals bases. He can play defense. You know, as far as I know, he's well-liked in the clubhouse and all this. And so he's not those guys, but he is the best available player. He's going to get a bigger deal than everybody else, at least on the hitting side. So is it 400? To be honest, I don't know how to evaluate contracts anymore, because every time you see a number, it's like, well, okay, how much of it's deferred? Because Shohei Ohtani didn't really get 700 million. You know, he got like 460 million. It's a very complicated place to be. I will confidently give you this. He will get the biggest contract by a lot. It'll be at least 7 years. And whomever gets him will be very happy to have him because he's a really good all-star caliber winning player.
And then how do you put Cody Bellinger compared to him? Because if I'm Cody Bellinger, I wait for Tucker to sign, right? And then kind of try and set my market. How close do you think they are as players?
I don't think they're close at all. And I don't say that to diminish Cody Bellinger, who obviously had a very good year. I don't know how you value someone who's been as inconsistent as Bellinger. It's like one of the wildest up and down careers I can ever remember, right? Rookie of the year, MVP. And then the Dodgers, you know, after a couple of bad years, said, you can go now. Like, you've been this bad. We don't even want to give you a contract for next year. Up and down with the Cubs. They basically gave him to the Yankees as a salary dump last year. Just take the contract. And then he had a very good year with the Yankees. And I can tell you this, living in New York, anytime a left-handed hitter comes to Yankee Stadium and has a good season, people are like, oh, well, it's the ballpark. And most of the time, that's not true. Like, Juan Soto didn't need the ballpark. In Bellinger's case, I think he might, because he had massive home road splits last year. He was okay away from Yankee Stadium. He was great in the Bronx. They want him back. He, I think, wants to be back. I'm guessing they do find a way to get back together.
The Mets are interesting, right? They signed Devin Williams. Edwin Diaz is still out there. Like, and now obviously it looks like they're going to need a first baseman, or I don't know where are they going to go with that. Where do you see the Mets going, whether it's here at the winter meetings or beyond here, to fill out what they think should be a team that's in the playoffs and should be competing for a potential World Series?
I can tell you, Mets fans here are kind of losing their minds at recent reports that indicate they're not going to go out for a top-of-the-market start, right? Framber Valdez, Ranger Suarez, guys like that. And if you watched the Mets last year, it was their rotation that really failed them. Like, they absolutely collapsed in the second half of the year. And it's like, I look at these guys, and I've got a lot of questions about Framber Valdez, who was really, really tough the second half of last year. He had an ERA over 5, a lot of issues going on. I'm not sure I feel confident with giving him this big contract either, but it's like, if you don't, you can't go into next season with your rotation started by 3 essentially still rookies, which they would do in Sprode and McLean and Jonah Tong. They got to get somebody, but it can't be another Frankie Montas. It can't be another Sean Manaea, not to accidentally name 2 XAs, but that kind of player who didn't work out for them last year.
Friends of the program.
And I like Sean Manaea a lot. Like,
great guy.
They got to do something. And, trading Nimmo for Simeon was a interesting trade of big names, but I don't think it moves the needle as much as people think it does. I would say between the Mets and the Phillies, it's probably the 2 teams in baseball that have the most work to do right now.
You know, the last 2 years at the winter meetings, it's been all about the Dodgers. And 2 days being here, you haven't heard one thing about them. Isn't that weird?
That's great for them. I mean, listen, you win back-to-back World Series, and you don't have to do that much. You know, you've got Ohtani. Bullpen help, but so does everybody. They could probably use another outfielder, but so does everybody. how do they get younger? You know, you look at the core of that lineup. Freeman's getting older. Mookie Betts really kind of fell apart in the second half last year. Otani's in his 30s now, which just makes me uncomfortable. That shouldn't be possible, and I guess it is. They need to find a way to get younger, and I think what's going to happen here, they have a really well-rated farm system, tons of young outfielders. I think they are going to make a really interesting trade where they take like their number 2 prospect, their number 3 prospect, and make a big trade for an outfielder or infielder you just aren't thinking of because they have to get someone who's under 30. They don't really have that right now.
Well, isn't that always the thing when you start signing guys to long-term contracts is all of a sudden you start looking up, you start weighing, man, we got a lot of guys. They're good players, but they're definitely older and they're really expensive. How do you keep runs going? Well, you got to get younger guys.
Yeah, it's a nice problem to have. I mean, who are the youngest teams, right? The White Sox and the Nationals. And those teams lose 110 games because you don't have the all-star veterans. And listen, I'm not saying Freddie Freeman's not a good player anymore. Certainly he is. But I think they're going to do something where it's like they're going to trade Teoscar Hernandez, or somebody along those lines because they got to get some new blood in there, to keep them hungry. And you know what? They're still going to be the favorites for that 3rd straight win next year.
Hey, great stuff. We always appreciate you. Wish you were here next to me, but you're probably smart not coming down and being at home. You be well. You have a great holidays, and we'll talk to you in the new year.
Thanks a lot, Chris. Take care. Have fun.
Take care, Mike. Mike Petriello, MLB.com. We've got the Hall of Famer. Barry Larkin is here. We're going to do Barry now? Let's get Barry going right now. One of the greatest shortstops to have ever played. And now he is trying to get Major League Baseball in the city of Orlando. The great Barry Larkin is with us. How are you?
I am absolutely fantastic. Now, I don't know where your fan base is. If they're still in Oakland, I don't know about the greatest shortstop that ever played because last time I played in Oakland, it was in 1990, and we were finishing off a sweep of the Oakland
Yeah,
A's.
they're not. They don't.
I
love
know they're
you.
not there anymore.
Yeah.
So I know we're all good.
But a lot of people watching are back there. So yeah, Eric Davis has been brought up today. Your teammate has been roaming the building.
Eric is running around here.
Eric the Red.
Absolutely.
Yeah, and
Absolutely.
you guys were great, man. We actually Billy Owens was just here, and we were bringing it up, and you start talking about Sabo and O'Neill.
Yeah, we had a really good team. We were really young. Players. We were really young at the time, and I'm gonna tell you, it's not always the best team. It's the team that's playing the best. And at that time, we were winning games, and I just remember looking at Ricky Henderson like, how is this happening? You guys aren't as good as we are. And I know
Rio couldn't. He was
Rio was amazing.
Yeah,
and the guys at the back end of the bullpen, the Nasty Boys, they were amazing. And and it was like everything that we did at the time. We were playing so good at that time, and obviously that's what you have to do in order to win a World Series. You have to be peaking at the right time. Once again, and I will say this till I'm blue in the face: it's not always the best team that wins. It's the team that's playing the best. And at that time, it was unreal how well we were playing. And against all those guys, I mean, you had Eck, you had
Bass
Stewart,
Brothers,
you had all those guys. I mean, just amazing. They were amazing. But, we, at that time, Lou Piniella was our manager. And Lou did not accept the fact that Lou told us day one he was not going to accept the fact that we were going to lose. And so he was a prophet, and he knew some good stuff was coming. And I tell you, that was probably the most there were probably more fights in that clubhouse that year than any team that I had ever been part of.
That was the Dibble.
That was the Dibble,
oh, yeah.
Absolutely. And, and I feel like that happened because everyone was it was not a very comfortable clubhouse because the level of expectation was so high from Lou Piniella. Lou, honestly, did not accept mediocrity. And we were very mediocre the year before. The 3 prior years with Pete Rose as our manager, we had finished in second place. Just good enough to almost be there. And then we were in 5th place, and then Lou came. And Lou's first meeting with the team is, I don't accept losing, I don't expect losing, and we're not going to lose. And I remember early in spring training, he lost his mind on Paul O'Neill because he threw to the wrong base on our cutoff and relays in spring training. Now, for some reason, there was a shortened spring training in 1990. I forgot exactly what was going on. I don't know if it was a strike or whatever it was, work stoppage or whatever it was. But we didn't have much time in 1990 to get ready for the season. We went wire to wire, but we came into spring training with an expectation with Lou Piniella that we're not going to lose. And I'm telling you, we won so many games, I think, just because he set that mindset.
Yeah.
And
It's a winning mindset.
It's a winning mindset. It's not a not to lose mindset. It's a winning mindset. There's many guys that go out there and play to not lose. It's tough to go out there to win. You have to put it on the line to win. And that's what Lou Piniella, I feel like that's what Lou Piniella did for me personally as a player. That's why I love and respect Lou. I felt like when I played for Lou, I made a transition from just playing to be a good player to playing to win, like putting it out there. Don't associate going for it with failure. I'm going to fail anyway, obviously. But Lou Piniella, for me, that's what he did. His attitude and what he brought to the game really impacted me in that kind of positive way. And I really, truly believe I became a better player just from his presence alone, much like what Terry Francona is doing for the Cincinnati Reds right now.
Yeah.
I feel like I've seen some of the guys, TJ Friedel, who had a fantastic year. He had a great first half and then kind of tailed off in the second half. I feel like he was an example of a player playing with so much more clarity and so much better than he did the prior year because of the message that he got from his manager. His manager pulled him. I sat and I watched it in spring training, pulled him into his office and said, this is what I expect from you. I expect you to score 100 runs. I expect you to get on base 2 times a game. I expect you to be on base 2 times a game. So now you see TJ Friedel and his approach is, okay, instead of the kind of trying to hit a home run or impact the game in a way that he is capable, but it's not really his game. When let's say you play with clarity, you play consistent with what you're capable of doing. He had a great year because I felt like the bunt came back into the game for him. The walks came back into the game for him, hitting the ball the other way. The defense had to respect the fact that he was going to possibly bunt here and there. And then he did hit his home runs because he was in a good position and the pitcher made a mistake and he hit the ball at the ballpark as opposed to trying to force it, and then your numbers go down. So I truly believe that there are certain guys in this game that can impact the game, not playing the game. For me, Terry Francona has definitely impacted the Reds. And for me, when I was playing, it was Lou Piniella that impacted my career in a profound way.
And I like seeing that the Reds could be in the sweepstakes for Schwarber, hitting in that yard.
That would be some kind of amazing. That would be fun.
And you need that leadership too. We've been talking about with a lot of guys. We just had a great one. Lou Merlone was here. Talk about when Bregman showed up to the Red Sox, teaching guys, and really, this is how you win. This is how you prepare. This is how you watch video. Having Schwarber come into the Cincinnati Reds could be just like that. This is what it means to win. This is how you win, and to really influence younger players.
Well, in order to be a winner, you don't necessarily have to win. Being a winner is kind of an attitude. Being a winner is so profound when you lose. That's when you really know if you have a winner or not, is when you lose, at least in my opinion, because, you see everyone is happy and in a good mood and a great mood, especially when they're looked at as a leader. When everything is going great, it's easy. But when you're struggling as an individual, are you the same guy? Are you encouraging those people the same way, right? How do you go about your business? And, and that takes some time. I was a leader in our clubhouse. I went through that maturation process, right? It wasn't necessarily about me at one particular time. It was more about the team. And regardless of how I was doing individually, I had to be that guy because I knew good and well that they were looking to see how I was going to react to certain situations, to my own personal struggles. Right, to my own personal struggles on and off the field. How was I going to react? How was I going to show up to work every single day? So if I don't know Kyle that well, I've interacted with him a few times. He seems to be an incredible human being. He is a Big Ten champion now. I know that much, Indiana. But yes, I would love to see him in Cincinnati. I think he would impact these players. I don't know him that well, as I said, so I can't say, but it looks like he would impact these players. And the thing that we have in Cincinnati that we haven't had in the past, we kind of talk about how this compares to like when Ken Griffey Jr. came to Cincinnati, right? That was the only other like super big free agent that came to Cincinnati and really impacted the game. The difference being at that time we had to score 8 or 9 runs to win, whereas now they only have to score 2 or 3 runs because they've got so much pitching, right? The fact that we have Hunter Green and some of the pitchers that we have, Andrew Abbott and Lodolo, some of those young pitchers, and Chase Burns and some of the guys in the bullpen, we've got so much good young pitching at this particular time in the organization. Now bringing in a guy that can drive in some runs and really bring some stability to that lineup, make people have to pitch to either he or Ellie De La Cruz, take the pressure off Ellie De La Cruz to feel like he's got to do everything himself, let everybody just kind of fall into a nice little rhythm and a nice little comfortable thing, and to have Tito Francona, Terry Francona be at the leadership helm. I think it's a great recipe. It would be amazing, I believe, if Schwarber came to Cincinnati.
All right, let's talk about baseball and Orlando, because
Yes.
when you land in Orlando and you got to get on the tram to go get your bags, the mayor comes on and talks about how it's like almost 80 million visitors a year come to Orlando. And you're like, wow. You think about Disney World, you think about Universal, got a lot of things going on here. Obviously, the Orlando Magic have been here for a long time. You, Barry Larkin, Hall of Famer, are trying to bring baseball, get an expansion team here in Orlando.
Well, you know about it. You know about it being that you guys are moving to Vegas.
Know a lot about
and that,
it.
and that I think that is I think that's how we're very similar. I know that there's 40 million people that come through Vegas, at least the studies that we have done. And I think that tourism is huge, and I think it's going to be huge, about building a new stadium, right? There's all kind of different things in the relocation, in the location that's going to have to happen. I feel like with Orlando, we're in position to either receive a team that wants to relocate,
Yeah,
or be in position for an expansion slot, right? 80 million visitors come through Orlando every single year, and the dynamic of the tourists that come through Orlando are not necessarily the same dynamic, in my opinion, of what I perceive people that come to visit Vegas, right? People that come to Orlando are more people to go to Disney and the Universal, Epic. It's families, it's young kids, a lot of kids that come to this area. So you think about the dynamic that we are expecting if indeed we are awarded a franchise in Orlando. That family atmosphere is exactly what we are appealing to with our pitch to bring Major League Baseball to Orlando.
Could you get Disney and other people involved? Are they involved in this? I'm sure they would love to bring. I mean, it's bringing more people to the kingdom, I guess you would say.
Well, I know they're in the entertainment industry. They talk about heads and beds. This would definitely bring more people there. Listen, Disney stands on its own. Universal stands on its own, but we do have relationships with both of them.
Yeah.
Have spoken to both of them. We do have some plans going forward that would include both if they're interested. Certainly have had some meetings when we talked about putting this together. We talked about the potential to do X, Y, and Z, and we have spoken about that. Obviously, can't divulge all of that.
Sure.
But yes, there's a tremendous amount of support. There's a tremendous amount of support to bring baseball to Orlando, and we're getting support from a lot of different places. It's
Since
been great.
we know what it's like to leave a city, now moving to a new city. I also worked for the Raiders, so I've been through this multiple times. How strong is the political will down here? When we start talking about city council members, when you start talking about the different people in the county, and how strong, because that plays. You can have rich people say they want to bring stuff in it, but the politicians, the politicos, they've got to be they got to be behind it,
and they do have to be behind it. And I don't know if I can share everything that I do know publicly, but we have been working to try to get as much political support possible. Matter of fact, we got a pretty impactful tweet from a Republican congressman today, speaking of baseball in Orlando. And so I feel like we've done a lot of the heavy lifting. But you're absolutely right. We have done a nice job of putting together the financial package. We have done a nice job of putting together any and everything that is in our power to control. We can't control the decisions that are being made. All we can do is report to Major League Baseball, the expansion committee, and show them what we have. Work with our different media outlets to make sure that our information is at least looked at by all people that are in position to make the decision, be it political or in that room with Major League Baseball. And so I feel like we've done a lot of the heavy lifting. We're in a great position. If Major League Baseball really looks at this and gives us a good test of our wares, I think Orlando stands in a incredibly powerful position, especially when you compare it to some of the other cities that are in position to be expansion cities.
I'll tell you what, you don't struggle with infrastructure here.
No, not at all.
I mean, that's when you come here, for me, going to Disneyland was Anaheim growing up, right? I'm a Californian, right? So this is my first time coming. You come here and you just go, Orlando has everything.
Yeah.
There's no reason why you shouldn't have a baseball team here.
You said that, and I believe that.
Yeah.
I do believe that. And, but we're not in position to make that decision. All we can do is put together a strong financial package, and that financial package includes financing for 45,000 seat indoor stadium. There's no burden on the ownership group to have to finance the stadium, right? There's infrastructure you talked about. There's infrastructure in place. Orlando has no minor league team. Disney is sitting. Disney is right there. The Braves used to be at Disney. So there's so many different opportunities. It makes sense, and hopefully we'll get a chance to make it happen.
Good luck to you.
Thank you.
The great Barry
You
Larkin.
got the skipper
right
coming, don't you?
The Hall of Fame. Kurt Suzuki, former A's, now a skipper.
Absolutely.
It's interesting when you grow. I remember interviewing Kurt all these years, and now he's a manager. So
How about that?
It's a lot of fun.
That's wonderful.
It's a lot of fun.
All
You
right.
be well, my friend. Good
Thank
luck
you.
to you.
Thanks for having
Anytime you need us, any type of promotion. We're going through we're ahead of you, but there's anything that you need
We're
from us,
following your lead.
you let us know.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
The great Hall of Famer, Barry Larkin.
Thank
Take
you.
care. Oh, so great to have him. Kurt Suzuki going to join us right here on A's Cast Live, as he's now the former A's catcher, is now manager. Good luck to you. Barry Larkin, everybody. He's a Hall of Famer. One of the greats. Orlando, they gave us his pamphlets. It's very interesting about Orlando's combined statistical area has nearly double population of Raleigh and Nashville. And you'd have to think that, we did this in Nashville 2 years ago, right? Remember when Dave Stewart was a part of that group? Now he's not, but we were talking about how Nashville will battle Orlando. When you talk about if we're going to be talking about expansion, you're going to have one team on the way it's been explained to me. Dave Stewart, I've spent a lot of time doing television with Dave Stewart, watching games. He's talked me through this. There's going to be one team on the West Coast, and there's going to be one team on the East Coast. People still want to say Portland. I still think it's going to be Salt Lake City. That will be the West Coast. There'll be the rivalry because obviously the border between Nevada and Utah, and then you'll have the Vegas and you'll have Las Vegas. Over time, the A's and whoever the team in Salt Lake City, they will really try and pair against each other. And I think here, once we start talking about the East Coast team, it's going to be Nashville or it's going to be Orlando. I know North Carolina wants a say in it, but you just look at the infrastructure and everything they get approximately 80 million visitors a year in tourism. If you add that to the population of Orlando and everything around Orlando, and then you say you're bringing in all these different people, and I'm telling you, when people come to Disney World, they come to Universal. A lot of people, they come from an extended period of time. So they do things other than just go to Disneyland. Like our resort is a great example of that. The pool area here is unreal. They got the lazy river and they got everything going on. Yeah, there's people that when they come here, it's like a week-long vacation. So you could see where people are going to say, yes, we are going to then now we're going to go to a baseball game that night. Very interesting. Kurt Suzuki is now joining us, former athletics catcher, now the manager of the Los Angeles Angels. Congratulations. And just, wow, how are you?
I'm good. How are you?
Last time we were talking, it was your last year. We were talking about retirement, what you were going to do in retirement. I didn't know you were going to be a manager this fast.
I didn't know either. But, yeah, it's exciting, man. I'm excited for this opportunity. You know, it's been a whirlwind, you know, since I've been hired, finding a staff and, you know, talking to everybody, coaches, trying to create a plan how we can get these players ready for spring training and in spring training for the season and things like that. So, you know, it's been fun.
Being in Southern California, obviously your roots there, college and everything. It just fits, doesn't it?
That's what I said. It was kind of a surreal, you know, going to college at Cal State Fullerton, literally 5 minutes away from Angel Stadium, to ending my career playing for the Angels, now to managing my first managerial job with the Angels. It just felt like kind of like it was meant to be, you know. It was kind of cool, and I'm excited for this opportunity. I get to live at home. I get to manage a baseball team, a Major League Baseball team, and you know, like I said, I'm so blessed to be in this situation.
You are always a leader. The catching position is always a big part of that. What do you think it's going to be like, though? I mean, you've played for some great managers. There's no questions. I'm sure there's a lot of guys that you can pull from. But how do you think you take those leadership skills from behind the plate and now what you're going to do in the dugout? Because we know some of the greatest managers of all time have been catchers, former catchers.
You know, I think it's building those relationships, understanding the players. And like you just mentioned, right, being a catcher, understanding the personalities. Sometimes you go through 29 different pitchers throughout the season, 30 different pitchers, and they're all different. And you have to relate to each and every one. You have to understand when you have to fire them up, when you have to coddle them, pull back a little bit. And I feel like that's my strength, is to be able to relate to the clubhouse. And I surrounded myself with great baseball people. And I'm not going to be the guy that's going to say I'm the smartest in every single thing, right? I hired these guys, and when I told them I hired you because I thought you were the best at what you do. I want you to do what you do. I'm going to be here, obviously, to be the manager, but you do what you do, and we'll work together as a team to be the best we can for these players and get them better every single day.
Have you thought about that message? Because setting the tone early is so key. What is it going to be like under you? How does it work? What are the do's, the don'ts? And as you know, a manager sets that tone from the top down. It's so important to do it early and to get that buy-in from the players.
Yeah, you know, it's not so much of the do's and the don'ts. It's who I was as a player, right? I felt like I was more of a grinder type player. I wasn't the guy with all the tools. I related to every single teammate that I played with, the pitchers that I had to catch. But I was more of a find a way to get it done. Learn every single day to get better. Find a way to get it done. Grind out at bats. Be there for the team, whatever the team needs. And I feel like if I can impact with the kids now with the talent that they have to instill some of that in them, I feel like it's going to take them to the next level and create a successful recipe for success, not for the near future, but just for the long term also.
And health has been big for the Angels the past few years. I think there's no question about that, which can be out of your control. Health's a big deal, especially with that guy, an all-time great Mike Trout.
Yeah. Obviously, we're a better team when Trout's healthy. There's no question about that. You know, we're still working every single day to keep guys healthy and do what we have to do, strength and conditioning, training staff, whatever it is, right? We're always working. But like I said, like you said, right, Trout, when he's on the field, he's great. We're a better team, obviously, no doubt. So health is definitely going to be a key.
I love your shortstop. I like your first baseman. I think you got young players too can really play. Shortstop's really, really special. there's something to build on. So what do you think is the key for you guys down here to get better? What do you think you need to acquire, whether it's here or setting it up before spring training?
Well, I think for us, we're just keeping our options open, right? I think we're always looking for ways to improve. Like you said, we do have a good shortstop. We have a great first baseman. We got a catcher that's has a lot of tools, and it could be special.
I want to go into business with him. I tried to, like I say, we need to get like an O'Hoppy's outside of, right? Can you imagine you get the Irish bar and have him show up Sundays after games?
A great kid,
Yeah.
works so hard, wants to be great, has a chance to be special. And like you said, it's just getting these guys to get better each and every day. And like down here at the winter meetings, we're just keeping our options open. How can we get the team better? We're looking at every single avenue, whatever position we can to help the team get better and go from there. Like, because obviously, as you know, you look and you want to get better here. It might not work out, right? So you try to keep your options open to try to get yourself the best chance to improve your ball club.
I always say, and I brought it up earlier knowing we were going to have you on, one of my favorite interviews all time was at the Tokyo Dome in 2012. It was emotional for you being there. And there was going to be family there that you'd never met before.
Yes.
I will never forget that. I know the A's have played a big role in your career, and I know how much you love the organization.
There's no doubt. Oakland will always have a special place for me in my heart. Obviously, it was the team that gave me my opportunity. I still communicate with all from the clubhouse staff to the coaches on staff. Obviously, Kotze was a former teammate of mine. Bobby Crosby, former teammate of mine. Emo and Darren Bush were my coaches in A-ball, so I still communicate with them on a regular basis, and it's always special. David Forrest reached out to me to congratulate me. Eric Kubota, all these guys have reached out to me, and it just, for me, it's special because when I play this game, I try to create relationships, right? That's the most important part for me, is the relationships that you create, and to have these special relationships with all these players and coaches and staff with the A's. It definitely it makes me happy. It brings joy to me.
Well, after this, we're ending the show, and then I'm going to go tape Stephen Vogt. We got former A's everywhere. It is amazing. We got former A. We have like 5 former A's now working for the league. I mean, that this era, the past few decades, has been really special. But you know what? You were always one of my favorites. You're always a class act. And I wish nothing for, even though it's the Angels, I wish nothing but the best for you. And I hope you have an absolute wonderful season. And we'll be talking to you up in Sacramento.
For sure.
And good luck to you.
Thank you so much for having me.
The great Kurt Suzuki right here on A's Cast Live, man. It's awesome. You're going to do great. You're going to do great. That's going to do it for us today here at the winter meetings. 2 shows, couple hours worth. What do we got tomorrow?
Well, we're going to tape another A in a little bit. Stephen Vogt, who will play him tomorrow. But we got Dan Otero, Hembo, Alden Gonzalez from ESPN.
That's Paul Hembekides. Hembo's Paul Hembekides from ESPN.
Alden Gonzalez from ESPN and Mark Kotze in the morning. And probably we'll play Stephen Vogt. And then in the afternoon, we have Torey Lovello, the manager of the Diamondbacks. Don Kelly, the manager of the Pirates. Brian Kenny from MLB Network and MLB Now. And Tony Vitello, who we talked about earlier, the new manager of the Giants. And I'm efforting. Shelton wants to do it with us, so we'll see. So
Shelty?
Yep.
Manager of the Twins. Oh, there's Stephen Vogt. Is Stephen Vogt coming here now?
No, he's doing MLB Network Radio first.
So we're going to get him after?
Yes. So we'll tape it and use it tomorrow. Thank you.
Hey, thank you very much. The Angels coming through.
Yeah.
Pretty good. It's you can't express it enough how special these moments are, where the whole entire sport comes together. It's a convention. All industries have conventions. This is our convention. When we talk about football, the Super Bowl basically is the convention for football. I mean, this is where, so many different people, like when we had Hall of Famer here, Barry Larkin, who got up from our interview to went over to talk to Kurt Suzuki before Kurt Suzuki. Everybody knows each other. Everybody somehow has either played together, worked together. You've been in the media, you haven't been. And once again, you try and tell people it's not, we're here for the baseball aspect of it, the players and the player movement, but the whole industry is here. No matter whether you were in tickets or you're in sales, you're in security, you're in customer service, anybody who works for a Major League Baseball team is here. And they meet in all their different departments and the teams. They share what they're doing and they share their ideas. And they're all talking to each other and how to get better as an overall sport. So as much as we portray this as it's all these players and former players and it's GMs, and yes, that's going on. But there's a lot more going on beyond us, wouldn't you say? I mean, that's the thing people I think realize is that, if you work for a Major League Baseball team, the majority of all the people who are on the staff, who are the employees or who are the heads of departments for Major League Baseball teams, they're all here. Yeah. And they're all meeting. Like there's so many meeting rooms and there's so many people walking by us.
I mean, literally while you're doing an interview with Barry Larkin, I don't know if you saw it or not, walking out of the room right in front of us was Bruce Bochy, Bobby Evans, Tony Vitello, and Buster Posey. So you got literally everyone from front office here. I mean, our whole entire front office is here.
Yeah.
I mean, every team's front office is here.
Yeah, I saw Boch walking by. You can't miss it when Bochy walks because it's that limp is just it just looks painful.
He's just a massive human being. He's a tall
he's a
man.
big dude with like the biggest head in the business.
Yeah, and a limp. Yes. So
no, it's been a spectacular first day.
13 guests today.
Our buddy Dan Duquette, former GM from Sirius XM. What day is he going to be here?
Jim
Duquette.
When's he going to be here? I haven't talked to Duke yet.
I saw him at I saw him getting coffee this morning. He said he'd stop by. Ron Darling, good friend of the program. Ronnie Darling. Mets, Ron Darling. Hey, Ron. See, it's just you just sit here. I mean, literally.
You missed Booney. He was on. He walked by when you were doing an interview.
Was he?
Yeah. Booney walked by.
I mean, you literally could sit here and just talk to people like all day long. It's why it's special. And we try and bring as much of it as we possibly can for you. We got guests throughout the day. We'll be back tomorrow, 7 a.m. Pacific. And then we'll take a break. So we're going to be on from 7 to 9 Pacific.
And then 11 to 1.
Then 11 to 1 Pacific.
We can promise you there might be times where we go over so we get a guest that we bring.
Yeah, like time is fluid, as we like to say around here.
It's a loosey-goosey era.
It's very loosey-goosey. And remember, and David Force's Wednesday.
Kotze's tomorrow.
There are contracts that have been put out to some of our younger players. I'm going to let Dave. We'll see if David wants to say who, how, what, when, and where. But I can just tell you that I know that is out there. I don't think that anything will be signed while we are here. But I think it's just another great note that people need to know. When you saw that Brent Rooker signed, when you saw that Lawrence Butler signed, and when you see a few more of our younger players sign, you start to realize things are different. We've been trying to tell you things are different, but proof's in the pudding, right? It's like we talked about earlier today when we were talking about the ballpark in Las Vegas and everybody tried to poo-poo it and tell you it wasn't going to happen and blah, blah, blah. Now that you're seeing it being built and it's coming from the ground up and we have the ballpark experience, it changes how everybody sees. You got to see it. You got to see it to believe it. It was in the early morning where I said, it's like Bigfoot. All these years they've been telling it, well, we don't see it. And now with camera phones everywhere, there should be Bigfoot sightings everywhere. There's just not. So the deal is you're starting to see Vegas is happening, the younger players sticking around. Will these players stick around? Well, when you put out contract extensions, it's a two-way street. The players got to agree to it also. But all good signs going for the Athletics. And if you joined us late, it's been amazing the last 2 years here at the winter meetings. Last year, we rolled into Dallas with, at that point, the biggest free agent contract in Luis Severino before Juan Soto signed. Everybody was shocked, could not believe that we signed Severino. And now, and Martin Gallegos talked about it earlier with me, now everybody's talking about our ballpark. Now that they can see it, now that it's just not renderings, now that, what you're seeing on social media, what you saw with the ballpark experience, the A's have been the buzz the last 2 years here at the winter meetings. It's been a lot of fun. Thank you, everybody, for listening and watching. Orlando, Florida, Winter Meetings 2025. We'll be back tomorrow morning at 7 a.m. Don't miss it. Enjoy the rest of your day.
Time is now. Grab your sunglasses, A's gear, and get ready for some fun in the sun. Spring training is back as the Athletics get ready for the 2026 season. Now's the time to make plans to catch us in Mesa, Arizona, starting on February 22nd, and enjoy the sunshine of your family and friends. Grab your tickets early for the best seats at the lowest prices as your green and gold take on the Dodgers, Giants, Cubs, Padres, and more at Ho-Ho-Cam Stadium. Don't wait. Get your tickets at athletics.com/spring. That's athletics.com/spring. This has been a presentation of The Athletics.